So wait, what did you say? What did you say first? Wait, hold on. What did you say?
It's like I said, I hope I look good. I
Yeah,
hope I
yeah,
look
yeah.
good.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. You always look good. You're the Abuja. Don't worry, we'll talk about it at the end of this thing. Like the Abuja plug for looking good and feeling good, hairstyles wise, and then it's just a icing on the cake that you happen to also be very smart and very creative, very smart, very, and I'm sure your customers they because of that they love you, like they enjoy the conversations that you have with them. Like they can't always wait to come back to your store because you're always like someone that they can have like very intelligent conversations with for sure. So
Mm,
yeah, so that I mean that's a good way to introduce Ore. Our and our second name, which is it your second name that is Alex?
yeah.
Okay. Alex is our second name, but so that's Ore for you guys. Ore is a smart ass,
Me too.
intelligent.
You're
Should we
gassing me
say,
up.
should we throw it out there that single?
Oh no, I'm in a relationship.
Oh,
Yeah.
so 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 Otilo, guys, Otilo. So let's not do that. Anyway, uh that's
Last year
great.
I was sad.
You said?
Yeah. No, I was like last year I was like, I'm outside, you understand? Like, let's get in the holiday vibes and all. And before I knew it, I was like,
Mm.
give me your heart.
Before you knew it, you were married and let's just leave it there.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, let's get into our video.
Okay.
The funny thing, I don't know this guy from Adam, and I like the fact I don't know the guy. I like the fact that he's Nigerian because apparently I saw the name, I was like, oh, that's nice, that's cool. But I just enjoy like just getting being exposed to like new people that I didn't know about before, and yeah. I'm glad that you brought someone that I never even the topic that kind of looking forward to like having a conversation around it because I've been having like a lot of relationship conversations of late. Like, I found myself like me and my guys are always having those kind of conversations. I don't know why, you know, but we're always having a lot of relationship conversations, like conflicts, all this kind of things. So it's nice that you bring this because it's very timely, actually. Very, very timely.
Story. I don't know this guy, like, I don't know him.
Oh,
So it was like one of my top watch because a
are
client
you
recommended
serious?
it. So we're having this
Wow.
conversation about relationship, and
Yeah.
he was like, you know what? This is what I'm saying. Someone said it. I should listen to this voice note. I am sorry to
Ah,
this
clip.
recording this
Okay.
podcast, and I was like, oh okay. I'm going to put it on the top chat. However, I still had some that I wanted to watch, but I was like, rather than doing that, you're working and you're listening. Some other times, I like to be 100% present when I'm watching some
Yeah.
of these
Yeah.
videos. So it's not like I'm in my head, you said something and I didn't grab it. So I wanted to take my time. So on our next appointment, I'll be like, girl, this is what it was and all of that.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, that was what I was patiently waiting. And then lo and behold, I get to have someone to watch it with. And we
Yeah.
get to chat about this. And the good part about this is I'm not just banting with a woman. I'm banting with a man. So I'm going to get a man's POV. So yeah, I'm ready to get into it.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, let's see. Let's see how it goes.
What if I
Can
told
you
you that
can you
men
hear
are the
it?
most in love with you when you're not there? But what if I also
What's
told you that if you
Wait, are you able to hear it? Okay, okay.
Strategically use absence to your advantage, then you can get him to be head over heels in love with you without you even being around. If that sounds confusing to you, don't worry. On today's show, we're going to be discussing why men fall in love with your absence. That way, you can use your understanding of this strategy to get the man that you want to be madly in love with you without you really having to lift a finger. Number one is imagination. And part of why a lot of this will be a little bit confusing to you is because naturally to you, when you really like a guy, you're going to want to spend as much time with him as possible. So what happens a lot in your relationships, and this is where it kind of goes wrong, you project that same desire onto the guys that you're dating because obviously you're assuming that if I like you and I want to spend every second of every day with you, then you probably feel the same about me. So you think if we're spending more time together, that means you're going to like me more. And if we're spending
Mm.
less time together, that means you're going to lose interest in me because that's what works for you. You're a woman. Men are different though.
But
And this is where a lot of you get
it's
confused because
it's funny because I feel that same way too, right?
Hmm.
Like, so I don't think it's is it a, I don't think it's a women thing, honestly. And I don't know if it's a good or bad thing. That would be interesting to figure out, like, I feel like if I'm spending more time with you, then I will like you more, right? But now he's saying that, like, he's kind of saying that it's kind of like a bad thing in a way, or like a negative thing to want that. Is it toxic?
Okay, so this is one thing. I don't think it's toxic, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, I believe it can be toxic. So
Mm.
right now he's talking
Yeah.
about women in particular, that
Yeah.
for women we feel we need to talk to someone like
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
too often, because when we
Mm-hmm.
talk to them frequently we bond with them. However, it's
Yeah.
different from them. And
Mm.
there was a conversation I was having with a client, and
Mm.
I I got this perspective which I shared. I said that
Mm.
in every person,
Yeah.
male or female, there's always a
Yeah.
dominant trait. Some we
Mm.
have dominance in masculinity, and in
Mm-hmm.
other have dominance in femininity. And I think this also comes alive in how we've carried ourselves over time. So when you say you feel the same thing, I want you to check yourself, your um how you respond to your emotion as a man of yourself.
Mm.
Not like from the general POV of how a man behaves. And then there are other women that are also acting, they dare towards the masculine, like they carry themselves with masculinity. So in cases like
Yeah.
that, you may or may not, but most likely find women like that acting like the men that this guy would be describing or is describing. So another thing I'm going to say is to answer your question,
Mm-hmm.
if you think it's toxic, I don't think it's toxic, right? Because we both know that um frequency, that's consistency,
Mm-hmm.
brings successful results a large number of times. Before you get
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, you must have started and you kept on
Yeah.
going, and then it like springs up. So what I think here is it's normal, because I like you, I want to talk to you, I want to talk to just you, I want to hear your voice. Now, when I'm hearing your voice so much, I start to think about you more, right? I
Yeah.
paint pictures in my head. I'm talking about from a woman's POV. I'm painting
Yeah.
pictures in my head. I'm watching a movie and I'm seeing these two couples do things. I want to chat with you
Mm.
about it. And when we talk about it, I'm bringing you and
Mm. Mm.
into the movie like it's the both of us.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In love.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes toxic when I'm not giving it time to breathe. I am just always wanting to be in your face. I think it becomes
Mm.
toxic where I want to talk to you always. I'm making you my social life. And when you start to make people your social life, you start to drop
Mm.
important parts of yourself. You start to ignore things that matter to you.
Yeah.
I think
Mm-hmm.
what the whole essence of falling in love is to also take some time to yourself to understand
Mm.
you in this moment. Like you need to check in with yourself, like assess yourself. I don't know if people do that. Like when I'm liking someone,
Mm.
I'm asking myself, why do I feel this way? Why do I like what he said? Why is this?
Mm.
Why? I ask myself so many questions despite us talking so many times. But one thing I'm
Yeah.
always careful about is I want to take
Mm.
some time to myself like I usually would and not
Mm-hmm.
make you my entire social life. And I think many people forget to do that, that sometimes
Mm.
we call love bombing. Like this is the
Mm.
new catch. So you're spending all your
Mm.
time with the new catch, you're chasing that feeling. And the moment,
Mm.
there's always that part of a relationship where you've run so far and now it's like, where is the next stone? You can't find the next stone to run. And you're just like, I need
Mm.
something. So it's more like when you run too far, you go too hard, you tend to lose
Mm.
interest, you tend to fall out of it, you tend to want to chase something new. Because I noticed something as I am in a relationship now. When someone interesting comes along and we stir up one conversation and it's like
Mm.
really amazing, and then the person is later on telling me, oh, I like you, I find you attractive, there is
Mm.
that part of me that is excited, right?
Mm.
And it's not that I don't get excited with my partner, but the reality is I'm not always excited like I used to be excited when we started talking. I don't know if you noticed it,
Mm.
because this is a
Mm.
new this is a new
Mm.
chase, right? And this is an old chased, right? Like I've chased
Mm.
this already. And now it's more
Mm.
like, oh, I don't know this person. This person is a stranger. I don't know what I'm to expect. And then the
Mm.
curiosity to want to explore is why I would want to continuously want to talk to you. But understanding,
Yeah.
I always thank God for self-awareness, understanding that the that first chase is always so exciting. It's always like, nah, this is not what it is. This is
Mm.
not love. This is not how we're gonna bond. I already have someone that I find interesting, and this is
Mm.
what I like. He likes these, that, and then I'm
Mm.
nah, I'm good. So
Mm.
in many other cases, when you get too excited, you want to talk to the person 247, everything. Like I feel like not like I feel like I strongly believe that there are certain things in your routine that you
Mm.
don't have to talk to that new person about. Just talk to your homegirls or your own boys about it and yap about it. Cause it could be dangerous at the same time. So that's why I'm just
Mm.
like, it's better it's I would say it's better to put it on average, like
Mm.
make it very simple than dive too deep. Because when you dive too deep, it becomes toxic. That's what I think. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I've not actually thought about it and how, but now at least it has helped me to think about like and be cautious about like if I'm being too all up in the person's face and stuff. And that's why it's also important to, it's something that, being single for a long time now, I've discovered that, I cannot find everything in one person. And I feel like that's something that was the mistake I was making also in past relationships where I was expecting this person to be everything, be my therapist, my friend, my best friend, my most trusted person, my financial person, like everything, and it was just because I was expecting so much, and then the person obviously cannot meet up to those expectations, then it feels like there's something wrong with them. Meanwhile, like it's something I should have, it's something I should have fixed from my own side, where I should have people outside of my relationship, like that I go to for certain things, counselors, someone that, that can speak to me when it comes to like areas of like relationship. I'm having
some problems struggling. Like I was just doing it on my own, and just over dependence on just that person. So yeah, I think that now looking back after like everything like you said, I'm like, you know, I probably was doing it a lot too much. I became very toxic. Like that even I think the person also the person still must have also done the same thing because it just felt like, oh, it's love. We just keep being in each other's faces, being in each other's faces. But at the end of the day, like just being able to know that the person cannot provide everything that I want. I have to have friends like my guy man that I go to when I was like you said, discussing those things with like certain people that are trusted people instead of just everything going to this one person for that thing. And it's exhausting. It's very exhausting for them, I can imagine, because imagine having to handle every part of someone's life. It doesn't mean like obviously like the person obviously say becomes like a marriage now. Obviously the person is going to be there. I can always it's not like I cannot be vulnerable with person, but like there's just certain things that I just have to know that, oh, my partner this is not an area of strength. Like, doesn't mean I can't discuss it with her, but I should just understand that, oh, this is not area of strength. I should find a specialist or at least somebody that, not a specialist per se, but like somebody that maybe is on that same journey with me, that is also trying to figure something out in that direction. And then we can, go together on that journey. So I feel like, just that alone, because I wasn't even thinking about those things, but there's a way like being single for a long time, like you sit with yourself. But like this particular one of being always in the person's face, like that's something I'll like I have you know I'll be thinking about moving forward, and make the necessary adjustments. But I think one thing that I find very interesting that you said is how you are not shy to talk about if a new connection springs up, like somebody just comes and then it feels like, oh, like then that, the time when you and the person that you're with, like how the spark was before, like, or I don't know what's called it spark, but like the chase, rather, like you said, was exciting, is now seemingly old, right? And now you feel like, oh, there's a new, and to be honest, I feel like it's one of those things that people don't see, but like they actually experience it. Right.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're able to like voice it out is actually very scary. Very, very crazy actually. Because when you said it, I was like, my mind, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. You know, funny enough, I was actually asking my boyfriend today, like, what would he do if he start finding someone exciting? And he was like, he's not that kind of person. He doesn't think anybody else would interest him. I mean, that is his truth. But my truth is, I would definitely find people exciting. I have been finding people more exciting than my partner. But this is
Mm,
one, right?
mm,
Before I got into a relationship, I always had like
mm,
I'm this kind of person. I love to have conversations with myself. Like I spent
mm,
an ample amount of time asking myself
mm.
questions before I dip it. So
Do you record those conversations with yourself?
I do not, but most of the times you find me journaling. Like before
Okay.
I got into a relationship, I
Yeah.
wrote the things I wanted in a man physically,
Mm,
intellectually, financially,
mm,
socially,
mm.
spiritually,
Quote,
like
quote, quote, quote,
the
quote, quote,
sense of
quote.
humor. I'm serious. I literally like I wrote down this different parts. Like I broke it
Mm,
down parts like and then I also enlisted why I wanted him to have those things, right?
mm,
Because
mm,
I got to a point in my life where I had to ask myself, why do I like this thing? Am I liking it because there's this I think there's this um mechanized idea that if
mm,
a man can have this and
mm,
many other men has it, it will be
mm,
natural for a man to want to have it. Same way it goes for women. It's just like flowers now, right? When you give a woman flower, she will smile like
Yeah.
really cute. Everybody thinks buy a woman bags, shoes, and I mean you make her happy. But here is the
Mm,
reality. Are we liking these things because we're seeing other women like it? Or have we spent
mm,
an ample amount of time to ask us what does our own flower mean? Like what is our own flower? Like for me now, if
mm,
you buy me flower, I'll be happy. Yeah, you bought me flower, but
mm.
they'll probably be in the trash the next day because nobody wants. Yeah, it's true. So I had to spend an ample amount of time and I asked myself, away from social media, away from shared
Mm,
experience, away from borrowed experience, away from my parents, why do I want these things? Why do I like these things? And
mm.
haven't gotten my answers from it. I also spend an amount of time to
Mhm.
learn. Like, I'll tell you one funny story. My business
Yeah.
put me in a place where I get to meet different people, like
Mm,
like different ideas, religion, perspective to life. And the only reason why I believe that I've been sane all through meeting these people, because when you're walking and you're hearing people's experience, it's more like you're delving into it. Like you can see their reality.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Now, the only reason why I'm able to be sane and I'm living in my own truth is because I've come to an understanding that life is how I choose to live it. And I need to be able to live it by understanding how my body and my feelings like respond to how I'm living it. So understanding
Mm,
this, I always ask and label my feelings. So I've come to
mm,
understand that when you meet someone, for me, I don't easily like people. I find it difficult to like people, but I would like you just because I'm a human being and I am quite affectionate, like I'm emotional. So it's more like sometimes I might watch a movie and I'm crying. I don't really care about it. I just feel like there's an empath in it and it's moving me emotionally. So that's just what it is. So for me to emotionally like connect to someone, it would take a level of like deep intimacy. Like I don't know how to explain it, but having to fall in love with someone is not something that happened just on a random day for me. It's a very intentional thing for me. So it's more like
mm,
when I start to find someone attractive, I start to like I'm excited about them and all of these things. There's something I
mm,
always know for certain. This is the first phase. And I'll ask myself, why am I feeling this way about this person? And it's easy for me to label this is why, this is why, this is why. Because I don't necessarily have to go back to my book, but I already know it mentally that this is the box this person is ticking that's making me feel, oh, I'm impressed by this person. But in
mhm,
the grand scheme of reality, the major thing did not tick, right? And
mm,
I'm not interested in knowing how far they would get. Because I'll tell you one thing, I would rather have one shoe that I know that, oh, this is the shoe I'm going to wear than to have multiple. And I will spend my time thinking of which one would I wear that I would end up not going
mm,
to event. I don't know if that
mm.
makes sense,
So,
but
yes, yeah, that makes sense. So, like, are you in that context, are you saying like the major thing is that one shoe for you?
well, yeah, the major thing is it's better to have one option. It's
Mm,
better to have one option when it comes to having a life partner than for you to have multiple choices. Because trust me, you won't be moving with your entire being. You would be moving based on how do I explain it? You won't be moving in your originality. Let me put it that way. Because let
mm,
me explain this. Originally, I'm someone that I admire value. I admire like away from money because I mean I'm not a rich babe. I've not gotten to the stage where I'm like money is not everything. But I've
mm,
gotten to the stage to realize that once you get used to an amount of money, it becomes shit. So if I'm going to fall in
mm,
love because of money, trust me, it's not going to stay too long because The moment you give
mm,
me, let's say I've never seen 5 million naira in my life, and then you give me 5 million 3 times, trust me, the fourth time is too small. When
mm,
I've never seen 10 million in my life and you give me 10 million 5 times, the sixth times it become too small for me because I'm like already used to this amount. I'm already used to this. I don't know if that makes sense. So the
yeah, that
same
makes sense.
logic I play when it comes to life, like
Mm,
if I'm going to fall in love with someone or I want to date someone because they look good, trust me, I'm still going to find more good looking people. And I don't know, when someone makes you mad, you would not even think about how fine they are. Honestly speaking, it's I think it's two things: how they choose to escalate or de-escalate, and the next thing, depending on their choice, you can either start feeling resentment or you can just be
mm,
at peace. And these are things that actually matter. So on the long run, these are the things I always ask myself because I'll be honest, I would rather
mm,
this young and I get it wrong than for me to be at um a very important part of my life and I'm still figuring it out. Cause I feel like I will hate myself more for those decisions. And there's a Bible verse in Ecclesiastes that I'm always living by. It says, there's a burden in knowing things. Like the more you know, the more burden you have to bear. I'm paraphrasing.
yeah,
Now it's more like I would rather spend the rest of my
mm,
life not knowing things that I cannot fully understand than for
mm,
me to spend the most part of my life trying to figure out something that I've already dived into. Because the moment you get that awareness that this exists, we are curious minds, like we are curious
yeah,
people.
mm-hmm,
Exactly. And that is why I'm
yeah,
like, this is my person. This is who I have chosen, and he has chosen me. Unless he decide not to choose me anymore, I would continue to fight for what we have because this is what I have known. So that is just basically what it is. Yeah.
mm. So I think that that idea of like the shoe, the having one shoe instead of having multiple shoes also is like when in the dating process, like instead of just, checking out different people and stuff, like is it like focusing on just one person also is like probably a better approach. Because I can relate it so much to the dating process and I find that that's very exhausting. Like
Hmm.
trying to be, just checking out different because there's so many things going on. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I don't know about any other person out there, but there's just so much going on in my life that it's just too much for me to be doing all that stuff. Like if I find one person, I'm just trying to get to know this person, as much as I can. So if I like, if the person like kind of like ticks all the box, because for me, I'm not really looking for like physicals. Like I've passed that stage where I was telling one of my guy yesterday, that, and I always tell all of them that we get to that part of the conversation that for me, I used to be very big on like physicals, that's like facial beauty, bum, breast, all those kind of things. But like, the
Hmm.
more I started getting older, it's like those things are not as like up there for me again, because one thing I'm very certain about is that like beauty and aesthetics can literally change if it can change very quickly. Like you'll be amazed that, I mean, I've seen examples of people and it's been God. Like, I mean, God, there's nothing God cannot do. Transformations happen and stuff. But the good life that God has promised me, like I'm very sure that it will rub up on not just me, but my partner's life. So I'm not big on like aesthetics per se. I'm more on like other things like faith, how like family background, relationship with uh family, um just some things that I really care about, like, and then what the person, like the idea of like family for the person and kind of values also, temperament also, like compatibility, like temperament wise, um, and smart, creative, just some kind of things that are both beauty and all those things. Like it used to be like something that I was think like, oh, this is the one thing, but now it's like, oh no, I don't really care about it as much again. But dating generally, man, like it's just exhausting if you're trying to do like multiple this thing instead of just focusing on just that one person. If it doesn't work out, then you just move to like another person, that kind of thing. But yeah, so to that point, I totally can liken it to the dating process for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what this guy
Because a
was
lot of
saying.
times the guys will show you the most appreciation when you're not around or when you're ready to walk away or when you have walked away and you're wondering to yourself, why are you now all of a sudden so interested in me? Why are you now all of a sudden chasing after me? And why are you now all of a sudden ready to do all the things that I've been asking you for the entire time we were in a relationship? But here's the thing. Men are the exact opposite of you. Every time that you're present in a guy's life, okay, you are the real you, meaning he can't guess, he can't pretend, and he can't project, meaning there's no room left for his desires to be projected onto you. Now, I know some of you are already looking at me like, Thompson, I thought you tell us all the time that the fantasy is so bad. Like, we shouldn't be imagining the fantasy. We shouldn't be thinking about the fantasy because the fantasy is going to get us played. Yes, it will. But you can also, as a woman, use fantasy to your advantage, because when you're using fantasy to your advantage, then you're allowing the men to build you up in their own mind. And what do you think is going to happen in the way that they treat you when they've built you up in their own mind? They're going to approach you as if you're fantasy. Remember, you want to be embodying the dream girl. And the dream girl, right, the most desirable version of you is really the fantasy you. Why? Because then he gets to project, guess, he can pretend, he can make you perfect. Now, let's stay here. I know that you're thinking, but not everyone's perfect. This is not good, Thompson, because what he's falling in love with is not the real you. It's not the actual you. It's this perfect version of you that's not real. Every
Did you want to say something?
Oh no, I don't want to say something. I'm still
Okay.
listening. I'm equally
second of
taking it.
every day
Okay.
that you take a step back, you're not messaging him, you're not texting him, you're not calling him, you're not FaceTiming him, you're just not present in his life. Fantasy you takes real you's place. So rather than thinking about your life and your relationships as, oh, when I meet a guy, if I can spend as much time with him as I possibly can from the very beginning,
Hmm.
then he'll be in love with me. I want you to start being strategic and understanding, hey, if I spend some time, if he gets to spend some time with real me, but then he also gets to spend a lot of time with fantasy me, that will be even better for real me. I know what you're probably saying. Well, Thomason, well, then what happens when he actually meets real me after a while? He gets to know the real me and he realizes I'm not like the fantasy, because real you steps in and understands, okay, now that I've gathered information to understand what you really desire and what you're really into, now let me think to myself, what about the real me actually is embodied by fantasy me? And then when you start understanding what parts of fantasy me are actually me that I can actually do and is actually authentic to me, then you start understanding, okay, how do I shine that light on real me so that he makes the connection between real me and fantasy me? Then number two is going to be a
I'm trying to grasp this idea is talking about like fantasy me, and I get the real me part, but like how does the fantasy, like how does that work? Like is it you that projects that to the person, or is the person that makes it up on their in their head
Yeah.
of how
Possibly.
they
Yeah.
expect you to be?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let me paint a picture. I remember back when I was in school,
Hmm.
um, I was humbled, right? I
Hmm.
used to have such a nasty behavior, right? So
Hmm.
I'm this
Hmm.
person that easily disgusted, like I make
Oh.
people uncomfortable. For example,
Oh.
don't find me in a messy place or somewhere there is no nice, right? So
Hmm.
like catch me eating food from Mama Puts like that.
Hmm.
only
Mm,
find me where it's like if you I'm trying to paint a picture to you. So it's
mm,
more
mhm,
I love good things. I love nice things. I wasn't literally living like a normal student. And I remember one time my friend bought this food, and I was like, "Can I taste?" She was like, "It's not your kind of food, though." I was like, "Which one is my kind of food?" Like, I want to taste it. So I tested it, and mind you, she was almost done with the food when I tested the food. So she was like, I was like, I want her to take me to where she bought the food. So she was like, she's not sure I'm going to like the place. So I was like, she should take me now. Long story and short, like to make the story short, we got to the place and she was like, would I take takeaway? Like it was obvious that my friend was not comfortable taking me there. And there was this statement one of my classmates made. She was like, she won't believe that I'll be in a place like this. Now, are you seeing what they said, right? I never
mm,
told them I would never be in a place like this. But just
mm,
because of how I had behaved or how they
mm,
perceived,
mhm, mm.
imagine if they were going to buy me food, for example, they would never go to places like that to buy me
Yeah,
food.
yeah. Uh-huh.
I
Mhm,
think that is the fantasy you that he's
mm,
talking about.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, 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 yeah. That makes mad sense now.
Appreciation. When you take a step back, remember now that you take a step back from, and he's not spending time with real you, he's spending time with fancy you. When you're not in their life anymore, they have an actual moment of time, a sliver of time to appreciate what it was like to have you in their life. They're actually able to like look around and be like, huh, it was fun talking to her. I enjoyed it. I was laughing. I felt so good. Now that I'm not talking to her, life's kind of dull. Things feel kind of gray. Things just aren't the same. And then what do you think they think after that? Maybe I should call her. Maybe I should message her. Maybe I should reach out to her. Maybe I should ask her on a date and spend some more time with her because I appreciate how I feel when I'm around her. I appreciate the joy she brings to my day. I appreciate the time that I spend with her. I appreciate her overall. And you see, guys only get an opportunity to get their wheels spinning like this when you're not there. Unfortunately, when you're there right in front of him, he doesn't have an opportunity to appreciate all of those aspects of you. Why? Because you're there. I know it sounds so horrible and I know it sounds so selfish and so inconsiderate because why can't they just appreciate you when you're there and you're doing the thing? Why do you have to be gone in order for them to appreciate you? I don't make the rules, but I can explain them to you. This is a mistake that some of you are making. You're not giving guys a chance to spend time with fantasy you because why? Real you is always there in some capacity, whether it be you're talking to him on the phone, you're FaceTiming him, you're Snapchatting him every second of the day, you're sending him memes, any sort of communication, you're always trying your best to communicate with him at every second of every day and never give him a chance to forget you, right? Because in your mind, you're thinking, and this is kind of the scare tactic that your own brain plays on you. If my man goes 2.5 hours without seeing my name pop up on his phone screen, he's literally going to forget my name. He's literally going to forget my existence. He's not going to remember that I'm the girl he likes if he doesn't see my name pop up on the top of his phone screen every 2 hours or every hour or every 5 minutes, right? And so it's a delusion, but it's a narrative. Remember, narrative's the key word of the day because narratives are powerful on both senses. That might be how you work and how you're wired, but I want you to understand if you want to be the most desirable version of yourself to men, you actually should take a step back so that they can properly appreciate you and think of you. So at the beginning, when you break up with a guy, your pain level is like right around there. But here's the thing, for the guys, his pain level is like right around here. You're sad about the breakup, right? You're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? We've been through so much. I've wasted years of my life. Like, where am I gonna find another partner? Then after, a couple of weeks, you're still sad. You're still in pain. And you still, he's kind of feeling this going on, but it's not as much pain, okay? And so you're kind of like here now. And then after like, yeah, let's say 3 months, right? You're going through it,
Mm.
you've been going through it, you had some sad days, but now you stop crying every single day. You've gone out a little bit with friends, you've enjoyed yourself, and now your pain level is kind of like here after a couple of months, right? And then you have maybe 6, 7 months down the line, and you're like, oh, you know what? Life is pretty good. I now that I'm out of the relationship, I see what my relationship wasn't with him. I see that he wasn't really doing much for me. And so your level of pain after, let's say, 6 or 7 months is like all the way down here. And so your graph, right, if we make this like a graph, is like this. Your pain decreases over the course of time. Now, obviously, it's not linear because as the days are going on, now your pain is decreasing drastically, drastically, drastically each and every day until you're like, you know what, I'm good now and I'm fine with the relationship being gone and I don't need him back. I don't want him anymore. I don't think of him. Now, for a lot of guys, and this is where the magic happens, where I want to actually join this with appreciation and help you understand why this is so important. So for guys, it's the
Mm.
exact opposite. So in the first few days, he's like, oh, yeah, boys, we outside. We going to town. We going to drink. I'm free. I get to do what I want. Bring on the Casamigos. Bring on the.
But you usually see this thing, right? Um, like it might not be as accurate as like the men like feeling this way. But someone told me recently that it's usually like whoever leaves, right? Like so the person that leaves um doesn't feel the pain as much as the person that was left,
Hmm.
right? But after a while, the person that actually left will feel, you know, maybe that same pain. I will go through that same cycle after some time. While that person that was in pain, that was left, kind of, it comes out of it, like slowly. So I don't know how true that is, but I don't know how true that is.
Well,
But
what I believe, right? I
mm,
believe situations matter.
yeah,
Truly,
yeah.
situations matter. And even though he's explaining this, I would say it's not entirely accurate like this.
Mm,
But this is what I always say. We
yeah.
have a pandemic or a popularity problem. Now, when I say we have a pandemic of popularity problem, I'm
Mm,
trying to explain the fact that just because something is popular, we believe it's true because
mm,
a lot of people are talking about it. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not
mm,
entirely what it is.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
When we talk about toxicity in our days, there's
Yeah.
also a beautiful, healthy relationship happening. But
Yep.
the terrible ones will always make the headlines. So yeah, to answer this
Mm,
question, I think it depends on the situation because a man would possibly leave a woman and he would not regret any single day of it. He would
I
have
agree.
no iota of regrets, right? And
Mhm.
same thing can also happen with women where a man would leave you and you feel peace, like you're excited, like
Mm,
you're happy the wait is finally over. So this is
yeah.
what I believe happens. Like when he's explaining all of this, that you're in a man's face, you're doing this, you're doing that. I like to say that he's not entirely wrong because
Yeah.
I strongly believe that as people, spend time with yourself as much
Yeah.
as possible, even before you
Yeah.
get into a relationship. Learn to
Mm,
know yourself very, very
yeah.
well. before you decide to want to know yourself with someone. Because the reason why a lot of women spend so many time, like too much time, there is no
Mm-hmm.
such thing as too much time, right? But
Yeah.
we're always in a man's face. You're not giving him the chance to chase you. You're not
Mm,
giving him the chance to have guesses. For
mm,
example, now, I remember when for my last relationship, cause okay, so I like to say that I've never had a terrible relationship in my life, right? That when I share
mm,
to people why I ended things or why they ended things with me, it's almost like I'm literally living life on bed of roses, right? Funny story. So this is one thing I'm going to say. I'm going to say that as someone who has experienced it good, and I'm aware that I'm attractive, I'm aware that I'm hardworking, I'm aware of so many things that if you're going to call me out on anything, it will be like, oh, I'm so glad you noticed. Thank you for feeling that way about me. But let's all be rest assured that I am fully aware that I am all of those things. Not to be like I'm prideful or I have ego. It's because
mhm,
I've spent enough time with myself that I have come to accept myself for what it is. Because I
mm,
remember when okay, let's come to the general perspective. When a woman tells
yeah.
you she likes money, Nigerian men will be like, she don't come again. And I'm like, wants me to come and lie to you that I don't like money when I do. Because even if I'm making so much money, or if I'm making more money than you, I would still expect you to buy me random gifts. So,
Mm,
regardless of if I'm a millionaire, billionaire, I would still want to spend your money because it gives me a kind of safety that you got me. I don't know if that makes sense. So,
yeah. Mm,
moving forward, rather than wanting to melt myself into his life schedule, how about he melts himself into my life schedule? Because that way it gives control. And this is something there's a common perspective that if a woman cheats on you, she's gone. And I believe it comes from a place of everybody believe that women set the boundaries in every relationship. And this
mm,
is why it is very wrong, but this is why many a times we have people blaming the women than blaming the men that hurt them. Because it's more like you put yourself in that position. Did you do this? Did you do that? Because
mm,
responsibility for men to set their personal boundaries is
mhm.
dead. Like it's literally dead. A man would literally, I'm not trying to generalize, but from this context of our conversation, a man will call you by 1 a.m. in the morning and be like, oh, I just wanted to check if you're awake. And then you're like, oh, you don't want to be rude because you like the guy, you're talking to him. Trust me, you're talking to him by 10 o'clock and he has an early morning the next day. He will tell you he's going to bed. And he won't give a damn about whether you're excited to talk to him. Same way you were like, oh, I mean, since he's excited to talk to me, I can as well just stay. Bro, I'm going to go to the like this is one thing I always do. You don't have to play mind games when it comes to dating. You just need to respect yourself enough and trust me, you would find someone that would respect you enough to pursue you the right way. Cause imagine you're like, you don't know me so much, you're already calling me baby. You're already doing this, you're already in my face, you want to show up at my place of work within how many weeks of us talking. It's like, bro, take a cheap pill. You're running to you have to run at my own pace. And this, I remember during I was single for like I think I was single for 5 years, going to 6 years, intentionally single.
Wow.
Yes, I decided to take.
Talk about it.
I mean, I literally decided to. Okay, so this is the thing, right? I moved
Yeah.
from after my last relationship ended. We tried to get
Mm,
back a couple of times, but I was already traumatized in the sense that,
Mm,
okay, let me not use the word traumatized because it sounds heavy, but I was already used to being single. That I'm like,
mm,
I'm learning to breathe the fresh air of not being in a relationship with my former
mm,
partner. And let me say this, my former partner was someone that I have to be too careful around. Like when I'm saying I have to be too careful around is because
mm,
his feelings are very tender. For example, I feel uncomfortable talking to a guy knowing fully well that he's present. Not that I am cheating on him,
mm,
but I feel like he'll be jealous and he won't want to admit he's jealous and then he will give me distance. Right? I feel
mm.
when we're going out, he feels he needs to pick my clothes. Cause at the time I was in my baggy era and I was out of yeah, I was out of my yeah, I was really out of my show some skin vibe. And then sometimes let me shock you. In my
Oh
last
wait,
relationship,
you were in your shoes some skin vibe era.
yeah, I was in my show some skin vibe
Oh,
era.
okay,
Like I
okay.
would literally wear a big t-shirt with panties and I will go out and then my auntie would be like, they've not put hand in your bum bum, that's why. Will you get inside and change your clothes? Like I literally feel like there was nothing wrong with it. If you see me dress, you'll be like, did your parents see you at all? And then there was at this point in my life where I love big shirts and big sweatpants. I love mommy jeans. I love like I wear the button shirt. I fold my sleeve. I wear these
Mm,
slippers and I'm like I'm looking really cute. I love it. And then he because he likes when I look like my curves are out. And so there was one time I was
mm,
like I'm not going to wear this. And trust me, we didn't go out because I refused to wear what he was suggesting. So, not to
mm,
me
mm,
look like he was controlling. Of course, he gave me my fresh hair to breathe, but he wouldn't communicate a lot of times. So, moving forward, imagine breaking free from something like that, and it's more like, oh, I can flirt with
mm,
anybody, oh, I can pick anybody's call. It's more like I am so comfortable being that person that even when he came back, I loved him so much, but I've already tasted this freedom away from him that I'm just like, I don't think I want to go back there. So
mhm,
realizing that I don't want that, I decided
mhm,
to just stay put. And then there was
mm.
something that was happening. I kept
Yes.
meeting people that
Yeah.
seemed like him, felt like I was talking to
Oh.
him. And it wasn't a good place because I was projecting the reality of my experience with
Yeah.
him.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
decided I was going to stay single. Like I was just going to stay single. And then there were people that I found really attractive, but I felt like I wasn't healed enough to be with them.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
needed to do
Yeah.
so much work
Mm.
on myself for me to be with them.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
that
Mm.
was
Mm.
why
Mm.
I
Mm.
stayed single for so long because
Mm.
this is
Mm. Mm.
something I have always told myself. The reason why I had series of businesses before I discovered I love hair was because
Mm.
I wouldn't have known I loved doing hair if I hadn't tried those other things. I don't know if
Mm.
because
Mm-hmm.
then
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
started doing hair in my
Plug that, plug that, plug that, plug that.
understand. So that was one of the things that really held me back. And so I was single for a long time. And then
Mm-hmm.
I literally sat with my feelings. I am aware that I'm beautiful. I am aware that I would make any man happy to be in my life, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
fully aware of what I represent as a person. And I wasn't going to allow a man define my represent like what I would represent in life, right? I wasn't going to make it look like I'm trying to make you like me. You already like me, that's why you're talking to me. I don't know if
Mm.
it makes sense. So rather
Yeah. Yeah.
than to inconvenience myself, I would rather you adjust your schedule for me. Now, this is one thing I always say. If a man
Mm,
is not ready to prepare the life that would make you comfortable, he's not a man for you. Because I believe
mm,
that I'm a little bit old fashioned. I believe that
mm,
any man that would love you, that would like you, would want to create a space where you're safe and comfortable. Now, if I
mm.
have to be the one to
So,
create that safety, it is
mhm,
not, it is obviously not real. I know people
mm,
always
really?
relationship. I know people will say
Mm,
that every relationship will survive if the man loves you more. But no, we are equally picking each other. And as
yeah.
much as I am picking you, I want to be like, I want to see you pick me. Because there is something I always tell my clients. Potential is
Mm,
the reason why a man will get your attention, but it should never be the reason why you stay with a man. Because
mm,
I would definitely fantasize because I'm a woman. I would definitely imagine you being my Prince Charming, my knight in shiny armor. Would not be the reason why I would continue to stay in your space. I have to see you play those roles realistically, right? I have
mm,
to see evidently. I need to see, I need to have that track record of, oh, he's capable of doing this. I can rely on him for this, for that,
mm,
before I decide, yes, this is what it is. But the reality here is, I believe a number of women don't wait for men to show them who they are. They like to project the reality of what the man should be before them, and thereby they start to lose the essence of their self, and they start to be with like they start to limit who they are just to make that man comfortable. For example,
mm,
there's one thing about me. If I go to a place, let's say I see a rusty bottle of malt, right? I would
mhm.
definitely want to check if the bottom part has particles, if it's clean enough for me to drink.
Yeah,
Or
yeah. Mhm, mhm,
and I go to a place, right, and it looks uncomfortable. I would be uncomfortable and I'll make it obvious that I'm uncomfortable. I would not lean into the fact that, oh, I mean, he made efforts to bring us out. No, I would obviously show how uncomfortable I am in that space. And
mm,
if you're unable to realize that I'm uncomfortable, I would tell you that I'm not comfortable here. I want to leave.
mm,
Now, in many
mm,
cases, you don't have to be the modest girl just because you want him to like you. You just have to be
mm,
yourself. Because I remember
mm,
I saw a tweet where the lady said she drives and the guy doesn't drive, and she decided to park her car somewhere to walk up to go and meet the guy. I'm like, that's too dramatic, because at the end of the day, if you're going to date this person, he would know that you earn so much. And any man that
mm,
feel inferior to you is not even someone you should be with, because you people will end up being in a competition rather than being in love.
mm,
So
mm,
what I'm understanding from, based on what he said, is I think is a two-way dimension when you look at it, because we have
mm,
the fallible aspect of his theory. However, there's a popular notion, there's a popular reality to what he's saying. And that is
mm,
because you find someone cute, rich, someone has the audience, and then you're like, you start to treat them like they are not like the same flesh and blood like you. I mean,
mm,
I'm not trying to say that women are the catch or men are the catch. You both are both catch. You're both
mm,
catches. And
mm,
the best you can do is to be a woman that a man is desiring, not be a woman that is desiring a man. And from
mm, mm,
think from desiring a man, you become the person that is chasing the man, because in this case you are like putting the effort he's supposed to put, and I feel like you could unintentionally lure that man to even marrying you, and inside the marriage you would realize that this person was actually never there. It was always you. And I think it's very risky. So I understand where he's coming from. However, I would want to see the end of where he's heading to before I give my
Mm.
final conclusion on what I think about this entire analysis he's given.
Mm. Yeah, like as we're sharing about your like your previous relationships, I have a feeling like that um like this version of you obviously is a different version of you. Like you were not as um self-reflexive as you are now. Like you've grown, like in the 6 years or 5 years of being single, like you became a different person, right?
Hmm. Well, I'm
Yeah.
going to say this.
You-
Um, I was very reflective at the time, right? And this is something, I'll say something. I used to be this person that if you do something that I don't like, I'll walk away. Like I will
Mm,
walk away because I'll take it as if you don't have it, I can't teach you to have what you don't have as a grown-up man.
mm, hmm.
At that point
Yeah.
where I was in a relationship with my ex, it was more of a family relationship. Let me explain why I said so. I was going to give up, and they kept telling me, if you give up like
Oh.
a person, this relationship is not as straightforward as you make it look, right? You
Mhm,
have to there are parts of yourself you have to make adjustments. You don't have to be a man in your relationship. Like, I'll tell you one thing, I don't like what I hate. And as someone that is very opinionated, I would
mm,
stand on my ground unless you give me a viable explanation why I shouldn't. I would stand on my ground. But at that point where it feels like at the moment it feels like I was too rigid. I didn't know how to be in love. I didn't know how to be emotional. Like, I'll tell you one funny thing. I never celebrated Valentine. He was one of the people that made me love and look forward to Valentine because he likes to make it look special. And for me, it's just like, why are you doing all these things? I
mhm,
mean, I don't know if you like, I used to be a tomboy, funny enough, right? I know I look feminine. I used to be a tomboy. Now imagine you're trying to be all girly around the tomboy kind of, and it's like, bro, calm down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was at that point I was learning to trust I can be feminine. And from the guidance I had, to be feminine is to be understanding. Because it's more like they will make it look like, why are you picking a man's call when you're with your boyfriend? To me, I felt like it wasn't a big deal because my boyfriend should be aware of the kinds of people I talk to, right? It's
Mhm,
more like, if we're in a healthy relationship and you trust me enough to make healthy decisions, who I talk to should not matter to you. The only time you have a problem is the time I am spending talking to that person, right? And
mhm,
at that time, it was just like, okay, okay, I will not do this since they say women should not. Do you know that it was more of a battle of, this is what I want and this is what is
mhm,
believed of a woman to do. So you
mm,
see that that shaky um perspective. This is what I have
mhm,
not lived by. This is what they
mhm,
say you should. Oh, let me even shock you. After we broke up, I had his house key for 5 months. I never went to his house. And I never looked through his social media because the moment he said it was over, I just went. I like the moment he blocked me. So the moment he blocked me, right? I just went
mm,
straight to deleting our pictures. My brain.
mm,
I'll tell you one funny thing about my brain. My brain is. I know how to accept things because we are grown up adults. And
mhm,
I tend to see the world from my POV. I'm a kind of person, if I tell you good night, trust me, my good night is good night. If I tell you,
mm.
you will never hear from me. Even if you beg me from now to tomorrow, you will never hear from me. I am that kind of person. But thanks to the glory of God, I've been lenient to an extent. But there
I
are
love
still
to hear that.
yeah, but there are still traces of that person in me. So when I tell you I'm done, believe me, even if you beg me, you're trying to convince me, I am actually done. So when he went as far as blocking me from from calling him, I just took it as that was the end. And as I took
Mm,
it as that was the end, I went straight to deleting the pictures. I had his key for five good months. I never visited. I never contacted him. I never made any efforts to. And my elder sister, on the other hand, she's so feminine. She was like, if she was the one, she would have gone to his house the next day. And I'm like, bro, he literally just communicated in his own way that it is done. And to me, it is done. So why would I be going there when he has already said it's done? So now let's go back to before the breakup happened. There
mm,
was me struggling with what I have always lived my life by and what
mhm,
is considered normal for me to be living my life by. So
mm,
it wasn't that I wasn't self-aware. It was more of a um trust issue. I was finding it difficult to trust myself on what is right or wrong because my
mm,
my my standard of living, people call me cold-hearted, that I'm too
mm,
stern for a woman. I shouldn't be so my heart should not be so hard like that. And you know when you're like, I
mhm.
don't want my heart to be hard like that, I would now want to do what I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one thing I'm going to say is I'm not so different from how I've been from my childhood.
Mm,
I would just say
mm.
that it's just a little more advanced. In
Okay.
for example, there were feelings I could not explain, I could not give a name to or a title to. I can now
Mm,
say this is what it is. Because I remember I was talking
mm,
to my partner one time that was in our
mm,
early stage of dating. He did something that made me really offended. I was really offended. And
mm,
in the heat of the moment, I wanted to say something hurtful, but I catch myself before I said it.
mm,
And rather than saying something hurtful, I told him that when he does things like this, I want to defend myself. And to defend myself, I want him to feel the level of pain I feel. And I would want to say something that will hurt him as much as I felt hurt. Now, you see
mm,
that awareness before
mm,
when I'm hurting, I want to hurt you back. Like, I don't know
mm,
hurt you
mm,
back, but I say heavy things that
mm.
when I see that you're upset too, I feel
Yeah,
content.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, it's more like I would catch myself from saying that because I will feel bad eventually, but I didn't know
Mhm,
what that feeling was to even begin with. But at this
mm,
big age, I know I know what the feelings is. I know why I am feeling it, and I am understanding why I'm stopping myself from saying or doing what my feeling is actually asking me to do or pushing me to do. Now you see
mhm.
how not very different from how I used to be, but it's
Yeah.
more
Mhm,
um I'm more I'm more
mm,
established in the
mm,
establishment that was literally building up at around that time, if that makes sense.
mm,
So,
mm,
yeah, because I also remember sometime because I really lost a huge chunk of myself after my last relationship. And when I start to ask myself, why did I feel like I lost a huge chunk of myself? It was because I wasn't fully myself. I had to be someone else for the sake
mm,
of what it means to be a woman that was being preached to me. So you see, when you're like, as a woman, you're supposed to be gentle.
mm,
I want to tell you, guy, you don't shake something inside me. I won't make you see
mm,
him. But I
mm,
can't speak to you man to man. They will say I have to be gentle. I have to take my time. Let him
mm,
understand. Let him see me sad. Then he asks me what the problem. You are seeing me sad, you are going, you are walking away, you are not talking. If I carry box now, they will say I'm a very aggressive person. Is that not what they asked me to do? But you're walking. I am quiet. Now you're walking out. So you see that part that is more like I say I won't wear baggy. You talk say short down I go wear. I say I know now your body. We no come comfort. I was on my own when you made me make plans. I cancel my entire and we are not going out again. If I talk now, they will say I'm a nagging woman. But they say that I'm quiet. Are you seeing the confliction was happening around that time? So it was more like this is what I want to do. This is who I am. But who I am is masculine to them. So you see how it was kind of like I am not myself, I am somebody else. And when it finally happened, it took me some time to realize that, oh, this is not happening. This is not my real life again. This is different. And now I'm like comfortable being I used to be, that I can be my complete self. So you see the differences. So yeah, that's just basically what it was for me with the whole changes and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, because I like that part where you were able to voice out that when this person does this action makes me want to defend myself. Like you
Yeah.
literally explained what's that like you actually took him through that process of like, you know, and also it was kind of like an alternative instead of you cursing the person or like saying something that you didn't mean at that time.
Yeah. No,
So,
I
but
mean
it's not. Mhm.
I would mean it because I would want
Yeah,
it to hurt as deep as and I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
justify abuse. I
Mm,
believe that this is the same thing that most women don't understand when they feel cheated or they
mm,
feel upset that it results to breaking your properties because they feel like you will be hurt. They want to hurt you. They want to do
mhm.
something just the way they've lost
Oh,
their
yeah.
something. I think this is something that explains that. I'm not saying it's justifiable, but I'm just
Mm,
like it could be that this thing I just figured out is what these people have not yet figured out because they said there is grace in
mhm,
awareness and there's a way I used to put it. There's grace in awareness when no, there is goodness in awareness and then there is grace in wanting to putting in the work. So it's more like now you know the problem, now you can solve the problem because you know what the problem is compared to when you don't know what the problem is but you're feeling something. So yeah.
mm, mm. Yeah, but I mean, I've picked something from there to sometimes not communicate, not try to force the person back, but like explain, take the person through my thought process and what I am capable of saying, but I didn't want to because their
Mhm.
actions almost led me to that place, that kind of thing. So it kind of makes it visual for the person because the insult is not visual enough. Sometimes the insult doesn't just it doesn't do it, right? But if you're able to take the person through like how, oh, this action that you did makes me want to do this, and like it just makes it very like if someone says that to me, honestly, I appreciate that more than being
Mhm.
insulted because I'll see what the person is saying. You understand? So
Wait,
I appreciate that you actually said
yeah,
that because
there's
yeah.
something you said. I wanted
Mhm.
to not to make corrections because what you said is valid. However, I wanted to just like add something right behind it. So
Mm.
one thing I've come to understand is I used to be a very narcissistic, manipulative person. Yeah, I'm not.
How
I'm
many
not.
hats? How many hats did you wear?
I'm serious. Like I was such a terrible person that sometimes I question Sorry, my lights went out.
Yeah.
Like I was
Mm.
such a terrible person that I questioned why my best friend stayed friends
Mm-hmm.
with me as long as she did. That
Mm.
she
Hmm.
literally waited for me to become better for
Mm.
yeah, and then we've lasted so long in our friendship. So I usually
Mm.
would question,
Yeah.
you have low self-esteem was what I always say because trust me, I was a very terrible person. And when I say
Mm.
terrible, I'll say this. There was someone that was asking me out
Mm.
and the person was actively wanting me to go out with him. It was someone in the authorities. And then I had this issue with this lady. We had this money back and forth. I was asking for my money back, and then she told me to do my worst. I went out
Ah.
with the guy just because I want him to help me deal with her. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And after he helped me dealt with the situation, we just didn't talk
Mm.
again because he never responded right after. Yeah. So I
Wow.
was like, yeah, I'm just giving you like a glimpse of what I was like back then. Like I will go through like when you hurt my ego, I will go through whatever extent to want to show you that I can be crazy. I'm that kind of person. And I'm this kind of person. I was that kind of person that if we have any misunderstanding, that's the end of our relationship. I don't believe in repair and come back. Once we
Mm.
fight, that is the end. If I have anything to learn, even if I'm at fault, even if you're at fault, I will learn from the next person. That was how I always carry my life. Yeah. My elder brother have sat me down and spoke. He has spoken to me multiple times. I'm just like, when I'm tired, I'm tired. I get tired of people and I find excuses for me to run away from them. Like when I'm
Mm.
bored, I would like I don't want to feel bad. You know that thing
Mhm.
where you start to text me that can we talk, can we see? I will not even give you the audience for us to get there. I would disappear from your life just like that. So what I'm trying to say is I've lived a life of being that toxic person and
Mm.
I look at myself. I remember when I was becoming me,
Mm.
I I was healing from my negativity. I was very conscious I was doing this, but I always justify it on the platform of this is why I am doing this and it is fine, right? For
Mm.
example, the reason why I'm bored of people and I move on from them, I always tell myself it's because I have nothing to do in their life. I have no addition to make in their life. So I rather move on to someone that they can make additions to mine and I can make addition to theirs. That was the excuse I always give. So if I ghost you, and I disappear on you out of the blue because I'm tired and I'm tired of like you start the person now start irritating me that even when you're talking I'm like, can you shut up? Like sometimes I can just make up fights just for the person to keep quiet and leave me alone. I used to be that
Mm.
kind of person. Like it's more like I don't want to talk to you and I don't want to give you a reason to talk to me. So let's just fight and let's know that
Mm.
I'm giving you space and giving me space. Yeah, I was like, I used to be like that. It was so messy. But I thank God for the grace of awareness and I thank God for the grace of giving me the strength to move from that person because it was really difficult. And my best friend played a really, really huge role in me becoming a better version of myself. So, one thing I noticed about me back then, when people bring up situations like it's my fault,
Mm.
I try to drag them in so they can have a share of that blame. And
Mm.
in terms of doing that, my major point is I don't want to be the only person apologizing because I feel like when you complain
Mm.
about I'm the villain. So
Mm.
the reason why I share this story is because you mentioned if you're able to tell someone that this is what you could have done, but you choose not to do it, I
Mm,
think it begs the essence of even communicating it in the first place. For example, imagine I tell you that I could have burnt down this house or I could have ruined your career, but I choose not to. And this is the reason why I was going to do it. I feel like it could hurt your ego or something. And it removes us from what I'm trying to achieve. Because what I'm trying to achieve is I want you to know how much I'm hurting. So rather
mm,
than making it a you problem, I make it about myself and then I give you like a podium for you to see how what you did made me that person. Now, I'll give you an example. I feel hot and I feel like I should hurt you too. And the only reason why I feel like hurting you is because when you said what you said and I felt really hurt, I didn't want to feel hurt. I didn't want to be hurting alone. I was really in this space where I was this, that, and I wanted you to feel my pain by feeling the pain with me. You see how it's me. I don't know
mm,
if that makes sense.
mhm.
Compared to how
Yeah.
I will tell you that this was what I feel like doing, and I'm doing this and I felt like doing it, but I'm choosing not to do it because I don't know if you understand the
Mm-hmm.
difference.
Mm,
Like,
mm-hmm.
it, yes, that was
Yeah.
what I just
Mm,
felt that I just felt like I needed to put that out there. Sometimes it's not about communicating what you could have done because this is something I always tell my boyfriend. It is you and I against the problem, not you and I against.
oh.
Yes, yes. So I would
Yo,
definitely
you know what? You know why I say clock down? Because I literally like me and my guy were having the same conversation yesterday night about conflict. Then I told you that we're always talking about relation and conflict, and I told him the same thing. You're saying the same thing.
are you serious?
I'm telling you. So because I've never heard people um talk about like this thing, right? Like the way, oh, it's two of you against this particular thing, not both of you picking, oh, this person did this person did that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
And
Yeah.
I think it's one question people because I remember at some time the reason why I would want to hurt you is because I feel like
Mm,
you've done something terrible, like you've hurt me terribly, and at that moment of hurting, I forget all the times that you've loved me and you've showed up for me. That all I can think about is that pain in the moment. So when I remind myself that every other day, except that moment, you've loved me. So that moment cannot be the only moment you decide to be evil. So it's only fair that I don't paint you as an evil person, but I paint the evil that has been done. Like I let it out that this
mm,
evil that has been done and
yeah, 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 yeah.
evil has left me feeling. Not like I say, like I make it like
Mm,
evil and you've done something evil to me because every other day you've not been evil.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
that's it. That is exactly why,
Mm,
like for example, that my so this is one funny story. My
mm,
boyfriend is the kind of person that when there's an issue, let's talk about it right now, so you don't give you room for any extra thoughts to come in. But when it
mm,
comes to me, I like to take my time so I can collect my words well. So it's more
mm,
like I need to question myself. Why did I even feel hot in the first place? Why is this even a problem for me in the first place? Because over time I've learned that there are two different there's a very large difference between feeling disrespected and actually being disrespected. So when I take that time for myself, it
mm,
would be easy for me to differentiate and for me to understand that this was not him meaning to disrespect me. This
Mm.
was me, my brain understanding this as disrespect because of this, that. So
Okay.
this is just basically what normally like plays out in my head. I don't know, I just felt the need to share
Mm.
that. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just it. That's just it.
Mm. Yeah. I agree with that conflict part. Like, I feel like because for me, the same thing I always tell this my guy, which we've been discussing a lot, is for me, going into a relationship, right? Like one of the things that for me is priority is how how does this person like to fight?
Mm,
Like in the sense that like when a conflict happens, like how do you like to do? Then when I hear the person this thing, right? Then I'm also now trying to propose what I think you know would work best, which I feel like attacking conflict as a team instead of seeing it as one person did this or one person did that. Like the way you said, because that way it helps the person that actually even committed the sin to feel like to give no sorry it helps create like grace for because at the end of the day you can tackle the problem, right, but it can still occur again, right?
yeah,
Like the fact that you tackle it doesn't mean that it might not happen again. You obviously you try your best, for whatever you can, and if it happens again, you attacking as a team gives the grace for improvements and grace for mistakes to still happen because you're
yeah,
like, oh, even though I did this thing, we both understand that this thing should not happen, right? We have accepted that, oh, this thing between both of us, we know that this action that was performed is not ideal for us. Now we've tried to find solution around it, but it happened again. Now it's like, oh, okay, if it happens again, it's like you guys are still going to attack it again as a team. And then because of that constant practice of doing it as a team, everybody feels involved. Everybody feels like, oh, they become more aware of like, okay, they're going to try as much as they can not to make this happen again, but like they become much more aware of their actions, their words. They feel like they're involved, and when people feel like they're involved and they feel like they're not being attacked and they feel like there's improvement, they feel like we're doing it together to improve, to see things from each other's eyes. Everybody feels like they feel safe, they feel heard, they feel involved. Like it's a very healthy, it creates a very, very naturally healthy environment to thrive and to to understand that it's okay to make mistakes even after you've addressed situations and understand that yeah, improvements will happen over time. But we have to give grace along the way, and I just feel like it's one of those conversations that people don't like. I don't hear enough about, and it's so annoying because for me, conflict is one of the reasons why most of my relationships never worked out because I just didn't know how to handle it. Actually, both parties didn't know how to handle it. So let me just say, no, both parties didn't know how to handle it because if we had handled it as a team,
yeah,
a lot of things would not have gone because it was basically conflict that just ruined like most of it. It wasn't like, oh, there was like there wasn't a compatibility issue. It wasn't like anything. It was majorly just conflict. Like blame games. This person did this. This person did that. Then when one person feels that, oh, it feels like they're being attacked too much, then they want to make the other person feel like they feel that effect too. So they want to attack back, that kind of thing. So it's just a
yeah,
constant game, and that game is just creates like this toxic environment, and before you know, it just builds up, and then resentment, and then it's like, oh, I'm done here. I'm just tired. But yeah, I wish like it's something that more people will be talking about, like conflict management, seen as a team rather than just blaming each
in the,
other.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to ask you what's your bedtime? What's your deadline for going to bed?
So funny story. I don't have a particular deadline. I could literally sleep off while I'm standing. Yeah, it has gotten that bad. I'm serious. I didn't even believe it myself. But I was gone for like 5 minutes, and I was surprised I never fell down. I was just gone. And then it doesn't take me like
Oh man.
to go to crazy story. If you ask me what is one of my eating talents, I'll probably say I go to bed before finger, like, so yeah.
Wait, but before your finger,
Yeah.
so you don't have a time, basically.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm all about the body wants what it wants when it wants it, and I'm just going to let
Hmm.
it. So yeah, that's what it is.
Hmm. Okay, fair enough. Okay, let's continue then.
Yeah.
And Henny, bring on the 1942. Where the hoes? Where the thoughts? I need play some Ice Spice, play some Glorilla. Then weekend number 2, yeah, we still outside. It's crazy, yeah. He might smash a couple of girls. You know he's going crazy. He's like, bro, y'all want you to see this crazy one that I smashed. Oh, you going crazy, bro? Month number 3 comes, and he's like, yeah, the first few weeks were good, but I'm starting to wonder, guys, we go out a lot. Are there any other things that we could be doing other than just going out? I mean, going out is awesome. What you talking about, bro? That's what we do. You tell me, are you gay? Like, you don't like smashing? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, yeah. I'm tripping. I'm tripping, bro. I'm tripping, right? And like, let's say like 4 or 5 months goes by, right? And now he's like, I'm tired of going out, guys. I just getting drunk is not it, bro. Like, I wake up every day, I got a hangover.
On the side, speaking of the smashing thing, right? You know, when I used to say, oh, like when they used to carry the old don't sex before marriage thing, I never really understood it until I became single, and then it became clear to me what like I understood it from spiritual. Like I started to understand how it not just even just affects like people in a relationship, even friendships. Like you have like decent friendship with the opposite sex, and then when sex gets in the way, it just like that like you just lose. There's some connections that um one just loses, like very quality connections, just because those things got in the way. And being single just really taught me all of that stuff, and I completely now agree with why they say, oh, don't don't have sex before marriage and all this kind of, because obviously in the relationship context, you want to have a clear mind, because that thing actually clogs the mind, right? Like you don't really see certain things that are going on, and then you resort to like sex as a solution, for fixing what like certain things, like instead of facing a problem as a team, resort to sex as like a solution for, or a reward, a kind of a reward for, oh, that means you guys are back, that kind of thing. So um yeah, that was one thing. I mean, I learned it the hard way, man. I'm not even going to lie, I learned it the hard way, but it is
Imagine
what it is.
I
Yeah,
can
I
only.
did. Yeah, I
And
really
this is
did.
just, I just feel depressed, like I don't feel like me. And then he's at home, and now after 6 months he's drunk now, and he's like, I can't deal with this anymore, this is so boring, I'm talking to the same type of girls, they all use me, this is no fun. And so what happens after month number 6, when you're finally feeling okay and you're doing all good? Month number 6 comes, and you've been getting better, and his pain has been going up and up and up every single day. And so what does he do? He calls you after month number 6. The moment you're like, actually, I've actually gotten over this and I actually feel better about myself and I actually am ready to move forward in life and meet new people, that's the exact moment he calls you, because your graphs are going inverse. So as time is going on, you're feeling better, you're getting better, and you're realizing why you shouldn't have even been in the relationship in the first place. And for him, as time is going on, his pain threshold is increasing, and subsequently his appreciation for who you were and what you were in his life is increasing over the course of time. So as that is increasing, he's getting an opportunity to say, no, I actually do want her. I want to be with her. I want to spend time with her. And all the stuff that I'm doing now is nothing in comparison to what I was experiencing or the amazing feelings I was experiencing and having with her and around her. I would like to have that life back, and I don't want this life anymore where I get to do whatever I want whenever I want. And so that is when those guys call you and reach out to you, because now they're able to properly appreciate you. I'm not saying this to say to you that every guy that you ever meet is going to need 6 months in order to properly appreciate you. What I'm trying to help you understand is that the cycle of appreciation for men is quite inverse. And so as they spend more time away from you, that pain threshold increases and they start saying, damn, I'm in a lot of pain because I do appreciate her and I want her back in my life. So now, because I can't get her back in my life and I don't have her in my life, but I really do appreciate her and everything she.
It's funny. Like I always shy away from like having conversations around my past relationships. Like, like, I mean, I'm over them. Like, but it just feels like um I don't want to have to throw them like because I feel like if I see something, I'm throwing them under the bus, and I don't want it to ever come off that way. But but man, it's very tricky dance for me, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
I strongly believe that
Mm-hmm.
what someone can never take away from you
Mm.
is your experience.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
you are allowed to feel your
Mm.
experience and
Mm.
explain your experience the way you lived it. I think
Mm.
it becomes wrong and unfair, like you're throwing
Mm.
them under the bus when you start to try to explain their reality for them. Because that way,
Mm.
they might feel the need to defend the reality that you're explaining. Now,
Mm.
let me explain this.
Mm.
From my experience, I
Mm.
would first say that I had one of like the most beautiful relationship I've had with any person with my ex. But it never
Mm.
removed the reality that I felt frustrated. It never
Yeah.
removed the problem that I felt that we had. It never
Mm.
removed how I was left feeling during the
Mm.
entire process. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm.
I'm not going to share the experience to define him for that because
Mm.
trust me, I tried to get back with my ex in recent times before I even got into a relationship
Mm.
with my partner, and he was not the same person I left. He was not the person
Was he
I
was he worse?
I'm not I would say okay, this is what it was really I want to say that he's from a place of hurt. I could see a lot of pain in his eyes. And this was
Mm.
someone I didn't see those pain in his eyes when we were dating the first time. Because the
Oh.
person I wanted to get back with was the person I met in the first time. And as I can't get that person in the first time, there is no point being with this person because this person I'm seeing now is not who I want to be with. I don't know if that makes
Oh,
sense.
wait. So you're saying the version of the person you saw now is the one that you wish that you had met?
No, is
Okay,
the one
okay.
I
Sorry.
run away from.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I tried for a couple of days and it wasn't it. We literally just stopped talking. Like we just stopped talking. Like, I'm serious. And I was just telling myself that, you know what? God knew that this was never going to be it. And I moved on. I just moved
Mm,
on. That was it. Cause
mm,
this is one thing, right? And I think this is one of the reasons why I was single for a long time.
mm,
I didn't want to be someone that was accumulating a whole lot of experience. Imagine I'm meeting you and you say one slang that my ex used to say. I'll be like,
mm,
you're acting like my ex just because you've done something, like two things that are like, and as human being, we're like
mm.
a reflection of our environment and the things we're
Yeah.
exposed to. Imagine
Mm,
you are exposed to a certain material, and he was exposed to the same material and he likes the same thing that you liked. It does not make the two of them the same person. I don't know if that
mm,
makes sense. And then the
mhm,
fact that my recognition of how I was perceiving men at the time was through the lenses of the experiences I've had with my ex. This was one of the reasons why I was backing out. I'm like, I'm not ready to be in a relationship. I don't think I want to. I don't want to. But him, on the other hand, he had been with three people after, and there was the issue of infidelity. Like, even when we tried
mm,
to get back together, he also assumed I was playing him with another, I was talking to another person while we are trying to get back together. Now you can see how
mm,
he is now reflecting the experience he had with someone else to me.
mm.
When me, on the other hand, even while we were together the first time, we never had
Yeah.
that issue. So you see
Mm,
how I'm not going to be a therapist for you. It's just giving a lot of, this is not what I liked the first time. And if this is what is going to be available, I'm not sure I
mm,
want it. I don't know if
mm.
that makes sense. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was just what it was. So I would just say that,
Mm,
please don't ever feel guilty or sad about sharing an aspect of your life and how you've dealt with it without,
mm,
like, you can say this without trying to explain the person's, like, mind frame. You don't have the right to do that, except they decide they want to speak about it, or you guys had a conversation about it. Then you can go ahead. Because for my ex now, I had a conversation about why he blocked me if he knew he was really so much in love with me at the time. And from his own POV, he was going through a lot at the moment when we had the fight that we did. His mom was sick. He was a manager at his organization, and um they were about going bankrupt because EFCC kept on calling him back and forth. He wanted to quit his job. So you see that part where he has a lot going on. He's looking for a house. He's looking for how he would resign. And then we had a fight. He said I was the only thing he could put a pause to at that moment without thinking so much. And that was why he decided to just go straight to block me. Cause me, I was
mm,
thinking maybe it was something worse or horrible, but when he told me that, it made sense. Cause a lot is happening to me right now, and we are having this fight. I'm not sure I can deal with it. I want to run away from this. And according to him,
mm,
he didn't click for him until a couple of months. And when he
yeah.
did, he was feeling like he didn't want to bother me because he made the decision to leave. So he was trying to work on it, but he just couldn't, that he had to reach out back. So the reason why I'm saying this is because we can be two amazing people in a terrible relationship. It is normal. But what is not okay is when you try to explain the person's mind frame without having full proof or awareness of what it is. But when it comes to your own personal experience, please don't ever feel
Mm,
like you're throwing anybody under the bus. If somebody was shitty to you, say it to the person, like, you felt treated in a shitty way as a result
Mm,
of that. This was what happened, that was what happened.
mm,
It is completely normal. Please don't let anybody's
mm.
experience or that narrative, that parts of your life, don't let anybody steal it away. So please, and of course, my ears are aching for the just have to figure out how. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah.
There, there's actually not much I was even thinking about, but I was just, for example, like when you said, when you tried to come back with your ex, like I remember many times, like there were just multiple times that we tried to come back, get back together, but for each time we tried to come back together, it was way more worse than the previous time. And it is funny because you know the funny thing, both of us actually knew that this thing, like this is just dark. Like it has gotten so dark at this point that it's not just facing so, but we kept just leaning towards that darkness. And I don't know, like the darkness just the sweet was the good. So like so it was a very very wild, like coming back, going, living again, coming back, living again. But eventually, one of us had to
That's
do
so cool.
hard 10. Yeah, one of us had to do the very difficult thing, which is just just ghosting entirely. Like it was so hard and painful, but man, like it's something that we should have actually one of us should have done earlier than we did later because it was very unhealthy. Um, you know, it was very unhealthy. That's to a point I started even getting scared, like scared for what if this thing could lead to even going to wishing ourselves like dying or even not even dying but like even going to prison. But it was just that dark, like, but it wasn't like there was no physical, like nothing like that, not physical abuse or there wasn't any form of like, but it was just the conflict was just getting to a point where everyone was just fighting to be right. I was fighting to be right, she was fighting to be right too. So it was like there was never any headway with there was no solution to conversations, there was no resolution. It just became really toxic, honestly. Like, and sadly, um, the sex part made it even way more difficult, you know. And that's why,
Mm.
like, that's why one of the things I learned after that period was like the sex was, something that it didn't make sense. When they will say, "Oh, don't do all those things before married and all those things," but like all those things made sense afterwards, like because it always felt like sex was the bandage most times our for our lack of. We just seem to feel like a hole that didn't have an end, that kind of thing, and so it just became worse each time. It just became worse, worse, worse each time. But yeah, I'm better for it, honestly. And just like you said, yeah, you wouldn't have known like you loved her if you didn't try like other things, right? And when somebody, when the breakup first happened, somebody was like, I can't remember I don't know, the one elderly person mentioned I think it was my guy's mom that was close to me and my partner at the time was like, it's one of those experiences in life. Like you have to go through, like, because for you to get married, right? Like you have to, I was like, what are you saying? Like, are you stupid? Like, do you understand? Like, why would you be telling me that kind of thing? Like, because I literally thought I was going to be with this person. Like, we literally had like we did. We got to an engagement, like we almost got to like proposal point, like families had met, all this kind of things. So like, why would you be telling me all those kind of things? You understand? Like, this was someone that I was supposed to get married to. So how can you be telling me that in life, like we've all gone through it where we we go through different relationships, heartbreaks, and eventually, it's fine. Like, it didn't make any sense. But when I look back now, I'm like, hmm, it's because there's just so many things that even personally, I'm glad that it ended because I was, I was very bad for her that time. Like, I was a very, very, very bad. Like, there's so many things I needed to figure out for myself that I think most of it I figured out, and then the ones that I'm trying to figure like at least I know that I need to figure this part out. And I also have like people that I, you know, pick their brains about it and all that stuff. So, but I mean, I wish she was a very, very amazing person. It's just that um we just weren't we didn't just get it right, honestly. And yeah, I'm better for it, honestly. When I look back, I'm way, way better for that experience because it taught me a lot about myself and about like doing it better, especially with conflict. Doing it better with conflict because conflict was the biggest roadblock for us. And I know the next one definitely is huge adjustment from the jump. We're having the conflict conversation. Yo, 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 yo. This this conflict thing. We're not going to just put it in the corner and say, "Oh, we'll attend to it when it happens." No, they talk about up front. How are we solving these things when it happens? No, tell me, say we're not put anything for background because because love is not in like it will fade, like the love will fade and all those things. But like me having to know that, like me being responsible for you, and also you being responsible for me, and also knowing that, like outside of the love, oh, I've made a commitment that I want to choose you every day. But that will also come with like life's challenge, like things that life will throw at me. Like obviously, like I won't um I've heard how cases like people get married and sex, just declines, their sex life declines and all this kind of stuff, which
Yeah.
looks like it's common. So all those things will fade away, right? Like so what's the very thing? What's the very thing that we hold on to that we say, yo, um, that makes us pick each other every single day, you know. And that because I'm not like the love, all these things, very nice. Oh, you're beautiful, yeah, I love you, but like you know um we have to have each other's back and just like love, just that love is just never enough. And that was another thing that I was blown away, like I was carried away with, like in my past relationship, is thinking that, oh, I love this person so much, like I want to be with
No.
her every time. It's
Mhm.
going to be okay. That's enough. That will be enough for us to carry on and power through life. But no, I was badly mistaken. I was I was badly mistaken, but man, like no, that relationship, man, pain me gone. Like that's the fact that especially when family gets involved, yo, that is a different ball game entirely. Like when family gets involved and families have met, what do you mean that you are no longer together? What do you mean? So like even to see these days, some of the contacts on my phone, like some of the family from our side, like it's still there. But I'm still making those cut-offs little by little.
Yeah.
Because man, you build those connections. Like you build those connections outside of what you guys had, and it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
No, a lot of
It's not like I.
times
Hmm.
we are not regretting the people that know. I think
Mm,
we are more concerned about how much effort and how much we've poured into it that it never worked out. I think you should ask yourself
mm,
some of the questions. Why? Because in the grand scheme of things, if
mm,
was a terrible relationship that the person messed up or that you messed up, you won't be looking at it from this POV, right? It's only
mm,
because it's from a place of misunderstanding and nobody was willing to take a pause for the other person. Nobody was ready
yeah.
to validate,
Mm,
nobody was ready to introduce validation to the conversation. So I think
mm,
you should check into why exactly, because minus the family, because I know that family thing is not the issue. Sometimes it's more
mm,
about what you just like, for example, a store owner, you are waiting to buy something at a store, and the store owner is like, oh, I'm coming, I'm on my way. And then you've waited 3 hours and the person is still on their way. Your brain is, should I keep waiting because this person could be closer, or should I just go home?
mm, mm, mm,
For some people, they would rather wait since, I mean, 3 hours have passed, you should be somewhere by now. And then there are other people that will just go regardless of how long they've waited before that. So you should ask yourself if you're one of those people that would, because I think when you're able to understand the reason for your attachments, it would be the easiest way for you to release yourself of the pain. Because trust me, I've come to understand that for me now, let's say you and I were trying to date and we don't work out, or let's say we dated and we don't work out and we separate without telling each other why we broke up or anything. For me healing and walking away from what had happened, like moving on, that is my closure. I don't need you to tell me this was what I did. I don't need that feedback because you made that choice on your own, despite the fact that we both decided to be together. Like we both decided, but you decided it was okay for you to make that one choice. I'm literally going to let you go and work on my closure, which is my healing process. So that's just one thing for me. So I think if you
mm,
spend an ample amount of time to know why he hurts, it would be easier. Because if you look at it on the grand scheme of things, there is such a thing aside how people fight. You could ask me all the good questions and I will give you all the best answers. But the reality there is the moment my ego is hot, I will fight you back with everything that I have. That is
mm,
one. The moment I feel belittled or disrespected, I would want to fight you with everything that I've got. So it's
mm,
not about how I fight. It's about how I feel when I am invalidated. When you don't validate my feelings and you continue to misunderstand me, how do I
mhm,
get who do I
mm,
become to defend myself? So these are the actual question. And a lot of times people don't ask themselves that level of difficult conversation. They don't have that level of dissatisfaction, that level of
mm,
inconvenience they are speaking to themselves. Rather, they will rather just brush it out without knowing that these are the things that would actually help you be a better person, a better partner. Because I'll say something, all the 5 years singleness I was doing were they were trash. Cause the
mm,
real work started when I got into a relationship with my partner. That is where I'm
mm,
being reminded that, oh, this is what I should have worked on. This is what I need to put more effort in. But the reason why the break helped me was it helped me pay more attention to myself away
mm,
from paying attention to myself when I'm with someone else. I don't know if that
mm.
makes sense. So yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you take off some time to
Mm,
ask yourself why you felt the way you did after it ended, trust me, you'll find out that it's because of how much you've poured into it. And I'm not saying
mm,
this to tell you this is why the problem is. I'm assuming at the moment. So you just
mm,
need to do that work yourself. And it's not
mm,
about you having conversation with someone in the future that you want to know how the person fights. Because trust me, I might be the most
mm,
peaceful person ever. And just by
mm,
being with you, I become the most horrible woman you'd ever met in your life. And that is where we talk about energy. So when I notice when you talk to a man, what does he want in a relationship? He will tell you peace. And this is the question I always ask. Does peace means I keep quiet when you're making decisions? Or does
Mm,
peace means I voice out when there's a problem so there won't be a bigger problem in the future? So some people, peace means they want to make bad decisions and they want their woman to be quiet. For them, that's peace. For some people, when they do something bad, they don't want a woman that complains, that feels like she's nagging, or that is making them feel like they're not good enough. For them, a woman like that is not giving them peace. So you need to understand, what does this means? What does this mean to you? What does that mean to you? So that's just basically what I have to say about it. So rather than you looking
mm,
at families and people that were involved, I want you to check in reality why you
mm,
felt that way. So you don't project it in your next relationship, because many a times it goes beyond
mm,
how a person um solve conflicts to
mm.
what person need when you guys are in conflict. Because trust me, if I
Oh
tell
yeah.
if I tell you that
Mm,
um when I'm hungry, I can break things, I can do this. The question should not be like, why do you, it should not be like, that's so serious. The question should be, why do you feel the need to break things? That way you understand. If, because for example, I remember a time in my life where I was aggressive. If you make me angry, I would not even want to wait it out. I feel anything close to me, I'll throw it on you. If you ask me why I did that, my voice was so tiny. My voice was really very tiny. And even
mm.
when I'm angry, people make fun of me. Like, they don't take me seriously. And that always pisses me off. So rather than talking to you that I'm upset, I want to show you
Mm,
upset. So that was
mm.
of showing.
Oh.
Yeah, that was my own way of telling you that you've crossed the line. Because imagine I'm telling you, I don't like what you did. That's so silly. Like, why would you do? And you're looking at me like, no, 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 no. I'm sorry, Joe. I have sure told you I'm sorry. I'm not playing with you on that level again, no. Hey God, I go break your head. I did vex you to me. Yeah, calm down. Calm waiting. Forget say the voice. Forget say the voice. They is it they low like this? I mean, forgive me, I can't speak pidgin like that, but forget say the voice they low. Ha. Are they boiling? So it's just like, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing like that? That's what
No,
you make me
no,
laugh.
no. It's the way, like I'm trying to picture, imagine like you in that setting where you're actually trying to explain yourself and your voice, but that makes sense actually.
So
But
you
I like, I like the thought process of um asking the person what they need. Yeah, because that's where I was. Yeah, that's exactly where I was trying to get to. Like, what do you need when you're when you're, because some people like space, some people just want to be by themselves. Okay, when something happens, you don't like to like tackle it head on. Okay, you might not tackle it head on sometimes, but because sometimes you can find the middle ground. But just knowing what the person needs, yeah, actually is a um very valid question to ask. Yeah, true. Because I found that I was actually annoying my partner at the time, usually when she's upset. For me, I always joke a lot, right? So even in the middle of conflict, I can be joking. Like that's just, I know that's very crazy, but like honestly, I'm not kidding. Like in the middle
yeah,
of
yeah,
conflict,
life.
I could actually joke. I can actually throw a joke. I'm not even kidding you. So most times when we fight like that, like this one, no jokes, like maybe no jokes involved. Say we're actually really, really like upset, and then she wants to be alone, right? But for me, I'm like, why would you decide that you want to be alone? So now that point, we are going to start to be true jokes. But I realized that it was towards the end of the relationship. I realized that guy, this thing you are doing, it don't make sense at all. Like, but we never actually, I never go to ask her like, oh, like, is this how you want? Like, if we have a conflict, like, is this how you like you need your space? Although she would say it, right? But like, I didn't really understand it because I was like, how would you need space from your partner? Do you understand? Like, so that was where me say, me say, I fuck up, go. It's all those times that I'll now want to even start conversation when she's not even having it at all. Like, do you understand? And I clearly see that but sometimes I think that she's joking. But then in the middle of it all, I'm like, oh, man, this girl serious, oh, guy. So that's when I'll now give her a space. But I've already actually aggravated her anger at that point, which is another thing that I learned is, but also it's through conversations that we get to know that, oh, okay, this is what you need. But I never knew. Do you understand? I never knew to even ask, like, oh, okay, what do what do you need, like, when we have like a fight? Do you like to, you know, um, do you like to be hugged at that time? Do you Like, what exactly? Because me, I wouldn't mind the hug, honestly. Conflict. There's no one to hug that can also conflict. Conflict, conflict will disappear. They will cannot talk. And my own is like, and that's the way I also see it. Like, if I do you want someone to hug you, and then we can have a conversation about what just happened, like the action that just happened, so that we the kind of like reduces the tension. Like, we're not raising voices at each other. We're actually speaking like co-partners and um collaborators on this. So that's a good point, I read. What do you need? Yeah. So I definitely keep that in mind for sure. For sure, for sure. Where do we stop with this guy?
Yeah, he was explaining why it's the whole emotional state of how men start to miss you.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, true.
Brought to the table in our relationship, now I'm in a lot of pain. And number three, I talked to you at the beginning of the show. The key word of today's show is narrative, because there's a narrative that's going to play in each and every one of our minds about each and every human being, relationship, and thing that we do. And as we're building our narratives, especially on the people that we meet, it's very important that you want the men in your life and the men that you're dating to be building the right narratives about you. Why? Because they're going to be looking for a confirmation on those narratives. And in fact, they're going to be manifesting and forcing confirmation on those narratives because that's what they want to believe in. When you are not in a guy's life, remember, he's spending time with fantasy you, not real you. What's going to happen is he's going to start remembering all the qualities about real you, or even qualities that you might not really have. And he's going to start looking for reasons to confirm why he's thinking about you this much or why he's fantasizing about you this much. They're thinking in their mind, I can't spend this much time thinking about another human being or have another human being take up this much brain space unless I really like them, right? So I want you to follow the logic train here. If I really like this person and I'm thinking about them all this time because I really like them, there must be specific qualities about her that make me really like her specifically, because he's going to start thinking, I don't fantasize about everyone. I don't think about everyone. I don't, spend this much time and brain power on one particular person with everyone. So that inherently must mean, this is the narrative that starts building, that inherently must mean that there is specific, unique qualities about her that are so much better or more amazing than all the other girls that are making me fantasize and think about her and spend all this time liking her way more than I like the other women in my life. Now, this is the really amazing part about that, and this is where I want to bring you to, because I want you to get a grasp of this. Because now that this narrative is playing in his mind, he's going to go out and try to look for things to confirm that narrative. Let's just say, for example, one of the things he recognizes about you, he's like, oh my gosh, you are just so caring. And you know, the fact that you're so caring, I've never met someone as caring as you, and you know, as someone nurturing as you, and you're just like the absolute, you know, true wife, any wife that a man would want to be with. As he's building you up and building you up and building you up in his mind, right? Building that narrative in his mind, when he meets you, you might say something like, oh, my brother was sick, and, you know, I went to go to his house and I brought him some medicine and I brought him some food because he wasn't feeling well and he had like work or something like that. You're going to sit there and say that thinking, oh, I'm just telling you like a regular story about my regular life. And he's going to say, oh, see, that's why you're so amazing. That you the way that you care for people. It's and you brought him the food. You're just they don't make them like you anymore. They really don't. You're gonna be sitting there like, I brought my brother food. He lives across the street from me. It's not that big of a deal. That's the thing. When a guy has built a narrative in his mind about you, he's looking for any reason to confirm that narrative, right? And he's anything you say, even if it's the most mundane, regular thing of all time. But then when he actually spends time with real you, he's always going to be looking for, oh, yeah. So tell me how real you is just like the fantasy that I've been building of you, right? And so when you can start understanding what fantasy you consist of, anytime you do anything to confirm that same subconscious narrative, he's like, oh, perfect. That's perfectly in line. Because I was thinking you were so caring, and you're showing me why you're so caring, okay? This is the same idea. You know, when you meet a guy, you think he's really cute, you think he's really fine, someone that you could really take seriously, and you want this relationship with him to work, what's going to happen is, because you want to like this guy, you're going to subconsciously look for reasons to confirm the fact that he is the guy that you're looking for. Even if those same things presented, those same qualities were in other guys that are chasing after you and messaging you every day that also have those same qualities, but you're not interested in being with those guys. So it doesn't matter to you that they have those same qualities. And number 4, confirmation bias. You want to believe that they're everything you imagine them to be. So you go out seeking confirmation that they are everything that you imagine them to be. But here's the problem. Because you're going out and seeking confirmation, you start to look for any reason, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's not really a big deal, to confirm that that is who they are and they are who you're looking for. And that's the reason you're fantasizing about them. So funny enough, when a guy is looking for reasons to like you, even when you just are being you, he's going to be saying to himself, oh, the reasons I like you is because you do this, this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and that. But he was already looking for reasons to like you. So he just found reasons to like you in the things that you already do as a way of confirming the bias that already exists within the narrative that he's built in his mind about you. And you're actually absent from him so that it allows him to build his continuous anticipation from you. When you just be you, it continues to confirm in his mind, oh, you just being you is exactly why you are so amazing. And you just don't understand. All these amazing qualities about you, this, and that, and this, and that, and this, and that, is what makes you so much better than all the other people. And you're thinking in your mind, it's the same reason why the guys that you don't like, don't pay any attention to, don't do nothing for. You just sit there and be yourself. And they're sitting there confessing to you how amazing you are for sitting there and being yourself. They're you have to understand, you're the most beautiful, gorgeous woman I've ever met. You just have to understand, you just radiate this such positive energy that just attracts me to you. And when I look into your eyes, I see the deep blue ocean. And you're sitting there like, I'm doing nothing. What are you talking about? I'm literally doing nothing. And those guys are they're looking for anything to confirm the narrative that you are the most amazing angelic figure they've ever met. Number 5 is comparison. But comparison in this case is so powerful for you. You need to give men an opportunity to compare what their life was like with you versus what their life is like without you. And on a consistent basis, you have to remind men how amazing their life is with you by reminding them how horrible their life is without you. I know that this sounds toxic. I know that this sounds like, why do we have to do this as human beings? Because I should just be able to spend every second of every day with my partner and they love me all the same. But unfortunately, this is the psychology of men. The only way
Hmm.
they can appreciate you, love you, desire you more, and want to be with you more is when they can directly compare, understand how amazing you are, what you bring to the table, how big your dump truck is, how, radiant your smile is, how angelic.
What is a dump truck? Is he talking about
Um,
ass? Is that what he's talking about?
no, I don't know. I don't.
That's a very interesting. I've never heard anybody describe that. Obviously, I think he didn't want to say that, and he said dump truck. I'm like, what?
Of a
Oh
figure you
man.
are when you are always present 24/7. They can only recognize that when they can compare what it was like to be around you and spend time with you when they are not around you and not spending time with you. And you have to allow the men in your life, even the ones that you really like, the
Hmm.
space to compare their lives. That's when they
Hmm.
start writing you letters. That's when they start,
Hmm.
telling you that you're the most beautiful woman in the tallest tower and all that stuff that they talked about in your Cinderella stories and your Disney princess movies, right? Like when guys aren't able, yes, fantasy for you is bad because you need to be gathering information and you're letting men into you and into your life and into your spirit. For you, a fantasy is good because a fantasy keeps those men in your life that you're dating hungry enough that they want to keep pursuing you. Now, of course, in the process of them pursuing you, you want to determine who's the right person for you because some men that are hungry for you aren't going to be treating you right or they just might not be the partner that you're looking for. But the men that you are dating, you want to keep them on the hunt. You don't want ever want the men in your life to be satisfied with the time they spent with you or to feel like, I would rather spend less time with her. I would rather, maybe take a little bit of a break from her. You always want the men that you're dating to be on the offensive with.
But it's also, I mean, it's okay if a lady or like a guy like they make the other person feel like they they don't want to spend more time because that way they won't filtering out like people that annoy your people. So I mean that's just the way I see it, Sha. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I think
Like
I get.
because I feel like your person, but then again, I was listening to one dating, I don't know, is it dating psychologist or whatever she calls herself, on one show recently on Michelle Obama's podcast, and then she was like, "There's this spark that you feel, right? Sometimes that spark doesn't come like on the first, second, third, fourth, sometimes fifth. Like some people it takes longer. So it might be like after like the 20th meeting, say they're like, now I finally find something interesting about this person, that kind of thing. So, I mean, it's just it's slippery, there's just it's not one size fits all. It's just, it's just multiple sizes fitting different situations. So it just depends on whichever situation you find yourself in. And obviously, if God says, oh, this is your person, right? Like, there's literally nothing um, that can come in between that, except the both of you, of course. But yeah, like the way some people meet, you think about it is like they meet randomly and then they become this crazy inspiration or role model for what marriage looks like and stuff. Meanwhile, they met like very very randomly. So I can't really see like one particular way. I mean, I, I mean that, and that's the more reason why actually let me just I'm just segueing now. That's the more reason why now I'm leaning towards God more than I have before, because I feel like there's just too many guys. Like there's just see. I try to make sense of so many things on my own, and I'm like, yo, I don't tire like this. I'm like, I'm like, yo, I don't tire. I know they make sense of anything on my own again. Like, it just became so exhausting. It's like all these things, like now, oh, you meet somebody, um, maybe there's no spark, maybe there's no spark, maybe spark is later, that kind of thing. So, but if God, like, I just feel like just doing life on one's own, man, sometimes can be very exhausting. Like, no lies, man. Can be very exhausting. That's more reason why I need to, man. I don't lean towards the guy because my head don't nearly explode for you. So even in picking the right partner, um, and just being a better man, safe, like, I'm leaning on God, like, just shipping me into that person. Because fine, I can say, oh, I'm working on myself, I'm doing it all alone, I'm self-reflective, but then I feel like if I find a way to combine that with God, like the wisdom from God, it just becomes so much beautiful. Like, because there's a place for a man like that, like where a man that did it wasn't dependent on God, like didn't was just self-sufficient, coming to now realize, oh, I want to involve God in everything that I do. Like there's just a place, like, and it puts the guy in a very different spot, like a very sweet spot, actually, is what I feel. So, but because at the end of the day, you can do, a guy can do, like, a lady can do all these tactics in this video, right? And then you can still go very south. Wow. So it's like at the end of the day, man, God is just the. And the funny thing is that even with God, self, you know, sometimes things will not work the way you want it to work, right?
Okay. Yeah. Um, so there was something I was going to say, but I'm going to add an addition to what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to what you said, I was going to say that there's such a thing as God would always choose with you, but He would not
Hmm.
he would not tell you this is the man you must marry. If you don't marry him, you'll never find any other man. So for
Hmm.
me, I strongly believe that God knows you and he makes provision for a community of men that has what he wants. That's, we work in purpose. We work in the purpose that Christ has actually ordained us to work in. And he would put people in place that would help you achieve those purpose. I'm talking about community of people that even if you miss it once, like I have this belief that if you have a dream that God is saying this is your husband, it doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily mean that that is the man that you would marry. Not to cause any religious fallacy, but the reason
Hmm.
why I say this is because God has given us the gift of choice. Putting
Hmm.
it in place that must be the person you get married to
Mm-hmm.
defeats the essence of choice. And also,
Hmm.
there is always the fact that God has seen ahead of you, that He has made that decision for you, that this is who you would marry. Now, I believe that there's such a reality of even if you don't marry that person, if you check it
Yeah.
very well, you would
Hmm.
see that a resemblance of the entity that that person carries with the person that you are actually with. Now, not to sound all religious, spiritual, and all of that, I will just summarize this by saying that
There's nothing wrong with sounding that, anyways.
we always have to go with God as Christians because I'll share my
Hmm.
story. Before I met my partner,
Mm-hmm.
he it was a really difficult moment for me, that there was a time I even had to go 3 days fasting and praying. Now, it wasn't because I wasn't meeting men, I'll tell you something. I've met a guy that like to press funds. Like the only thing
That,
he can offer me is money. That is all
mm,
he offer me. I've met a guy that was really available and he makes time for me. But the problem is he's not a consistent person. When he says we'll do something, he will change up his plan without letting me know. How can I trust someone like that when you and I will decide that this is what will happen? You will go behind my back and do the opposite. You and I will say, okay, we are going to meet here, and then I'll be there, you would not be there. You tell me, you start giving me, oh, something came up, you're changing your plans. I can't trust you to, I really can't trust you with my life. I've met I've met someone that he was a Christian, he had money, he was well to do, he looked amazing. Like it was almost everything. But the problem is he doesn't know how to take responsibility. So the problem was I keep meeting people almost every day, but they just weren't the one. I've had situations where I was matched make by friends, by clients, but it just wasn't it for me. And at some point, I was like, am I too picky? Am I too, where you're like, am I unrealistic? Am I
mm,
this? Am I that? I started praying to God, am I the problem? But the really, I don't know one. My elder sister was like, sure, I know I can't get everything I want, that I have to. I was just like, am I setting the bar so high? What's going on? I started praying to God. I
mm,
I looked through my book because I already wrote down what I wanted. I financially, physically, I've written down everything, like even socially. Like
mm,
I wrote it out that this is socially, this is how I want the person to be. I manifested, I prayed, I fasted, I cried. But I was
mm,
just, it's not that I'm not meeting people, but I feel like there's always something wrong. I met someone that it felt like he was rushing me. I had to tell him that we should take some moments away from each other because I don't feel comfortable around him. And it wasn't anything he was doing. His energy was too much for me. So it was like, at some point, I was not like, was the energy really too much? But the reality was, actually wasn't comfortable. So I had to pray to God. I had to take
mm.
that time to pray to God. And lo and behold, I met my partner on a dating app, and the way we clicked, it was so funny because I told God that I'm opening this apple, and if I don't see this person, this is the last time I'll use this app. Sure, I did that. Do you know the funniest thing? I matched with him on the day I opened the app. We started
Wow.
talking. Yes, we started talking on the night I opened the app, like in the middle of the night. And then the next day, on the third day, we left the app and we went to WhatsApp and we started talking. Now, one of the
Mm,
things that struck me was he was asking me the exact questions I ask people. And this is
oh,
the yes, I kept asking him like, did he read it on somewhere? Did they post something about my life somewhere or what? It was really amazing. It was like we shared similar belief and perspective. Our values were so similar. Another thing was I would not say I'm a saint, but I like to do 3 months talking stage. My talking stage has to be 3 months unfailingly because I'm not going to spend my time fantasize. I want to fantasize and give up fantasizing. But my boyfriend made me realize that maybe one of the reasons why I was not working out was because we're having relationship fights when we're not dating. Because well, he told me that he was not going to wait 3 months. He's not doing 3 months with me. I was just looking at him. I told him how I wanted to be asked out.
Mm.
And do you believe that the first day we met in person was the day he made preparation for it? And the next day, he asked me to be his girlfriend. So, one
Wow.
thing yeah, we have to go with God. Now, another thing I
Mm.
wanted to say is what this guy said can either be successful or be
Mm-hmm.
successful, serious aftermath. Now, the reason why I say this is because it's easy to manipulate people than anybody would think. It's
Mm.
very easy. All you
Mm-hmm.
have to do is you play the scarcity mindset. When something is scarce, people
Mm.
want to prove to themselves that they can have it
Mm.
regardless. Now,
Mm.
this person, the guy would literally fall in love with the chase rather than the woman. That by the time he realizes that he has gotten what he wanted and he's ready to move on to the next thing, he's probably already married to her. And now she's living in the reality of he wasn't always like this. But the truth is, you manipulated him into getting married to you. So,
Mm.
this is the tricky part about this aspect
Yeah.
just
Mm.
mentioned that I
Yeah,
wanted to
yeah, yeah.
talk.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to
'Cause-
make like you and I we are just here. If I want to make you like me, all I have
Mm.
to do is I don't even need to tell you I like you directly. I pick out your favorite topics. We have that conversation because that is who you are. I meet you
Mm.
where you're at. I take note of the choice of words, how you compart yourself. I ask you fluent questions and I disappear. And then I reappear. And then I stay
Mm.
for a long time and then I disappear. Because
Mm.
he said you allow him miss you and fill up the
Yeah,
balloon.
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I show up, let's say you see me at a supermarket, we are like planning to hang out, and then we're
Mm.
hanging, we're having physical
Mm.
conversation, and then I disappear because I'm busy. And because you're like, you love this, I'm starving you of this thing, and then you want to have that full, you start pursuing, and from there, you're clicking in, you think we should make it a relationship since it's happening like this, and I play all my cards right. You're asking me to get married to you, and we're married, and then I give up because there's such a thing as when you pursue something so much and you finally get it, sometimes when you pursue it too hard, it loses the taste. The satisfaction becomes distasteful. That you're just like, what was the point? What was the reason? So what I think about this is he's very fluent in the perspective that is very popular when it comes to making a man fall in love with you. However, I strongly believe that it has its two sides.
Yeah,
This
yeah. Mm-hmm.
it doesn't work entirely for everybody, and I
Mm.
also believe that it could be a manipulative tactic
Yeah.
that you can entrap someone
Mm-hmm.
with them even fully knowing that they've been entrapped. And this is the
Yeah.
key where you're like, he used to love me so much, what changed? So that's what I think about this particular
Mm.
that.
Yeah. It's basically in the hand of the person. The person, it depends on the person that gets a hold of it. Like you can use it for a force for good, or you can use it for evil. Just like how Uber, when they started, like, I mean, they had the intention of, oh, people are going to up in the ride, go to their destination. But what you didn't see coming is that kidnappers can also hijack it and then use it for their own like bad pursuit. So yeah, it's a good concept, and hopefully I pray it lands in the hands of those that will use it for for a force for good. But most I mean another thing is sometimes when you watch this kind of stuff, like, how do we I mean it's easy to remember, I guess, but like how do you become conscious of like actually practicing it? Sometimes we forget in the moment or how to deploy it when it shows up. Like when we're out in the real world now, it's like, oh, someone that wants to use this, but it's just not coming to mind that, oh, okay, that's stuff I did get shit about, like, you know, being scarce, and how do I remember to use it? Is the question.
Well, in this particular aspect, I would say he failed to extensively talk about these things. Now, the reason why I said he failed to extensively talk about it is because, for example, now I want to
Mm,
teach you how to be a millionaire, right?
mm-hmm,
But the problem here is I'm not telling you what exactly you should do.
mm,
I don't know if that makes sense. I'm telling
yeah,
you how to be a millionaire, or I'm telling you how to sleep early, but I'm not telling you exercise when you're tired, you would easily fall asleep. But I'm only telling you stop doing stuff, don't do that. Tell me in detail within this gap, this period, give me the manual. Don't just tell me what I'm like how I should go about it. Because I think what he did was surface knowledge. So
mm,
in areas like this, I believe that when you're being scarce, your brain is aligned to what is this person doing? Is he actually working?
mm,
Is it
yeah,
the examples of, oh, go to the gym? Gym is a very good way of distracting yourself from paying a lot of attention to
mm,
something, because it
mm,
removes reality of what is going on in your life, and it puts you
mm,
in a position to focus on what you're doing in
yeah,
that moment. You know, it didn't. Sorry, I'm trying to find.
yeah. I Yeah, it's for me. I was just looking at the guy. Like, it's a very. I like people that like they find like things that I couldn't even put into words. Like it was able to put them into words and articulate them. And it's just always fascinating listening to people like that. And even people like you, like, are able to articulate certain emotions or things that I couldn't give language to. But now listening, and now okay, I understand it now, and then I can explain it to myself. Say, oh, okay, that's what it is. But quite an intelligent young man, quite an intelligent one. Yeah. And for me, one thing that stood out for me is that like being the not scarcity, but what's the word? Um, what's the other word? What's the other word?
Which one of it?
But let me
Which one
just
are you
use
trying?
let me just use scarcity. Let me just use scarcity because it's the same thing, but I just didn't want to use the word scarcity because I feel scarcity was just not giving me the word. But for me, like in a relationship now, I know not to overwhelm, like, or yeah, overwhelm my partner with my needing to always be present every day, right? Because now I understand that I don't want to depend. I'm not depending on my partner for everything. Now I have like places and people that I can go to for certain things, right? And so I'm not over dependent on my partner, and then I can choose choose to just be scarce, periodically, so that it's not like, oh, I'm always in this person's space every single
Mm.
time we're talking 247 and stuff. But I mean, there's also I think it depends on the. I mean, there'll be seasons where obviously like there'll be times to talk for like hours. We were like on phone, steady. But also there'll be season when everything will just first calm, first. Where everything will calm, yeah. So yeah, just embracing both seasons and being, another thing, being able to hold those two tension, like because I found another thing that's very funny to this society is the fact that not. I wish they had taught us in school how to actually hold two opposing beliefs in our heads
Hmm.
and not have one feel, especially the negative one. Usually, it's the negative one that people would not lean towards when they're like, oh man, I don't feel these two things. Oh man, make I lean towards the negative one. Being okay with that, the fact that yo, this is happening, this can happen, but nothing. It doesn't mean anything breaks. It just means that those two things can happen. Like so, there's a season where I'm very present. There's another season where I'm not too into like in her face and stuff. And she not feeling that, oh, this guy loves me less. Do you understand? Like so, and me, if she does that, not me feeling like, oh, we don't love each other as much. No, that's not what is going on. Like it's just a thing of, oh, um, we're just giving each other space to be able to also process what it means to be ourselves in this relationship. Because at the end of the day, like if we need to self-evaluate, right? See, oh, what are we doing? What can we do better? All those kinds of that. But that time alone gives us that opportunity to like, actually reflect and be like, and that's why sometimes there's cases where partners like they break up, there's a breakup, people go their separate ways, but they come back together and they are actually better this time. It's because those times when two of them were actually away, they were reflecting on what they did, how they could have been better, and they became better versions of themselves such that when they met again, like the version that they, left was a more matured version, much more, a version that like kind of handled themselves way better than, they were before. So, I mean, there's been cases of that where people break up and then they come back together. So, yeah, I think that's something that personally I'm taking away from this is understanding that my partner has to have their own time. I have to have my own time, space sometimes in between all the love and the affection and all that stuff. Yeah. I think you want to say something.
Well, I completely agree with you. However, I just wanted to say that before you
Mm.
decide, how about you meet your partner and you ask your partner the frequency that works best for them?
So frequency, as in, what do you mean?
Okay, so now we are fully aware that our
Mm-hmm.
partner can be everything for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, before you intentionally make it a rotation
Yeah.
of, oh, I should not call her, oh, I should not do this,
Mm-hmm.
you give it all you got, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
then you have conversation about how they feel about it, because
Mm.
relationship is all about friendship and nakedness. So there's something my
Mm.
boyfriend and I do. We literally ask each other questions. We prepare questions to ask. It's like a game, right?
Mm.
We ask
Mm.
each other questions. What have I done in the past week that made you feel uneasy? Was there anything that you wish you can tell me, but you're still trying to find your words? Have your perspective
Mm.
about change from when we started dating and now? We do that.
Wow.
Yeah, we do that thing, and it has really helped us understand each other better. And I think there was even one we did recently, like a couple of days ago, where we were like, what is one non-sexual thing you love about me? And I asked him the same thing. And when he
Mm.
tells me, you would think back like, oh, this is something I did like some couple of days that he really loved. Now I know that he really loved it, I would want to do something more like that. Now, you see
mm,
how we don't just stop asking each other questions just because we're now dating. It's
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Mm,
because we keep,
mm, mm,
and I think it's one
yeah.
of the best way to, because people are allowed to change in relationship. And I
Mm,
think the only time the relationship dies as a result of that is because you're not growing with your partner. Now, having those
mm,
conversations, those moments, it doesn't have to be serious. It could be playful because sometimes we're playing and we're asking these questions and we're there's something I always say when he gives me a response. I'm like, are you giving me a response because you feel you need to answer me, or is that what is really happening? I love to ask that
mm,
question. And he'll be like,
mm,
well, there was a time I asked him a question and he was like, he felt like if he had given his original answer, I would have fought. And now I'm like, so what was your original answer? And I promise not to say anything. Like I won't
mm,
give any comment. So
mm,
he understand that we're not going to fight because he
mm,
said. Then when he says it, I would ask, "Do you want me to say something, or I should leave it at what I said?" Now we're flowing. So
mm,
another thing is learning to hold your emotion where you need to hold it, like where you need to hold it, and for how long you need to hold it. You don't
mm,
tell someone to open up to you and then they feel attacked, right?
mm,
Don't tell someone to be vulnerable with you and you make them regret being vulnerable with you. You also have to be the safe space that you're promising them. So
mm,
before you decide with yourself, because to be very honest, relationship is a lot of work. I
mm,
remember there are times when my boyfriend is so busy. We are so busy. We barely had time for each other in 2 days. We've probably spoken once in a day or twice in a day. And I
mm,
feel like something is missing because for me, I love the constant communication and
mm,
understanding that we cannot always be present because of my kind of work and his kind of work. It's now
mm,
like I'll tell him I need extra attention because I feel like I miss you and you're far away. Now
mm,
he's making it is like he's making this a responsibility to make sure he checks in on me. I remember I complained that he's not a morning person. In fact, sometimes his morning can start by 12. He wake up by 12, sometimes by 1.
mm.
And in my whole history of dating, I'm always waking up to good morning message and sweet messages. Funny enough, these days he's learning to sleep early and he's dropping me message to know if I'm awake. Like a lot
Mm,
has changed. A lot
mhm,
of his personality
mm,
has changed. And a lot of my personality has changed as a result of these conversations that we have. Now,
mhm,
how do you know that this person would not love the frequency? Or how do you know they would love the frequency if you don't have those conversations? And I think one of the best parts about the talking stage, right? The courting stage is
mhm,
you put your best foot forward so this person know what
mm,
to expect. I don't know if you understand. It's not a
mhm,
time for you to impress. It's a time for you to
mm,
be yourself and show them how you care, how you feel about them. And then you move to dating and now you're exploring other deeper, more aspects of you. So that is just what I think.
mm. Yeah, like yeah, that discussing it with them is yeah, that definitely is something that I definitely should yeah, should do for sure. How like how frequent or but just even explaining like communicating how the I would not want to be constantly like making you feel like, oh, I I'm always in your face and all those kind of things, but also giving you your space sometimes. And then when I give you that space, that doesn't mean that, anything is going on. It's just, just a time for me to reflect. Maybe I'm do my own stuff, do your own stuff. And yeah, but yeah, speaking on the frequency, yeah, definitely to ask questions, definitely important actually. Definitely. Yeah. I like the questions. I like the questions one too, like where you frequently asking questions. That's a very good safe, feels like a safe environment to for everyone to try because you can't know somebody finish, right? You can't really know the other person finish. So, but the questions would help to create even more questions. Like so I like the thrill. I like the thrill of it. It's definitely something I'll add to my toolbox for sure. I'll be like, yo, we should have like those weekly check-ins, weekly questions or monthly questions where we're asking each other questions. But and I like questions too. So I mean, why not? And to be honest, I would like when you said questions, like what came to mind was those card games. You know those question card games, right? Like I played that a lot in 2024. Like those games are so nice. They make strangers they instantly turn a stranger into like a friend because like the questions are so revealing. Like you literally, except you are lying. Like you literally have to tell the truth. If not, but I mean, and they have the ones for couples. They have couple cards and
Yeah.
so, like very beautiful game to play. Like very beautiful game. Like I'm looking forward to doing it. Like those question games. Because it exposes a lot. Um, it exposes a lot. So looking forward to it for sure. Well, yeah, this was
It,
such an amazing. Yeah, sorry.
exactly. It
Yeah,
was amazing.
sorry.
No, I was like, it was amazing.
Well, you said it was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean?
Something is just great. You say it, oh, it's amazing. But when
Yeah.
you're like, it is
Oh,
amazing, means the
oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah. But the funny thing, like all through this process of just like watching this thing with you, listening, having conversation, one thing that really like I really want to say is this that like when I met you, the version of you that I met when I met you, and this version is just like I'm just sitting here, I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I'm like, yo, it's crazy. Like the yo, like there's no like connection whatsoever. Like it has been like a 360 kind of like, or I would say maybe because we never really like had I don't know if to say we never really had conversations, but we had the conversation just a few times.
yeah.
But yeah, I think even then you weren't like now like you're way more confident than before. Like yo, that time you were
I
like
know.
in your shell, you in your shell kind of thing, your shell era. But now it feels like you had this period where you went to to be with the monks. Like that's just the way it is. Like you had this moment where for a whole year you just decided like you were here. People thought it was you the whole time, but it wasn't actually you. It was somebody else uh role playing as you while you were away somewhere in India or China with the monks. And then you came back after a year. I'm telling you, because it's like, oh my god, like even I don't even think the version of you that I spoke to like a year ago. I think the last time we spoke was like a year ago over on a phone call. Like that version of you, I was already even saying how that wow, you sound like a therapist. And but this version of you now has really embraced like if it sounds like a version that knows what she wants out of life She's a confident woman. She's very intelligent, very matured beyond your years. Um, what else? And then there's the God factor also involved in all of it too. So it's just really, it's so amazing to experience really like, and I'm like, yo, I think that your boyfriend is probably one of the most blessed blessed guys or persons in this world, because for you to have something as valuable as this is actually is mind blowing. Like
Thank you.
I can imagine how proud he feels of you. Like I'm telling you, because yeah, the kind of things that you shared, like the kind of things that you see, I'm like, what? I'm like, what? How many lifetimes have you lived, like, to to know some of these things? Because it's, you know, but man, you spent a lot of time with yourself. Oh my God. Like, oh my God, man. You spent a lot of time. What? Like, you spend a lifetime with yourself, I'm telling you. But man, I honestly, I knew this was going to be, I knew this was going to be amazing, but I didn't know it was going to be amazing. Actually, I I knew this was going to be amazing, but I honestly I did not expect this. I swear, like I'm just living here, going back into the real world now, and I'm like, wow, this is one of those conversations that I'll just be like, wow, it's so memorable. Like that I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember she saying this particular thing about asking those questions, or like asking what does my partner need, in conflict. Like, and I'm like, it's just so valuable, man. So valuable. And I'm sure even if people end up watching this thing, I'm pretty sure they'll catch the same vibe that I'm catching, because there was a particular lady that I shared her a Substack audio. It was a recording I shared on Substack, like almost 2 years ago now. One of my friends, she keeps always reminding me of that particular incident. That was the moment that changed her life. Like, because the lady, like the way you're sounding, like you've, you've come out of something, right? Is exactly the way she was sounding too. Like in the voice note, like you could tell that, wow, this lady she's just different. Like, the frequency is different. You just feel it. Like you can't explain it exactly, but you just feel it. So I feel like somebody watching this would actually feel the same way. So I'd be like, wow. They might even want to even just reach out and say, oh, like, how do I reach out to this lady? Like, how do I be in her space? How do I ask her questions? You know, because man, you dug deep into yourself. Like you really did. And I'm grateful that you shared all that you shared, man. And we
Thank
definitely, and this time, so I think this time we're doing another one.
you.
In the future, I see like we'll do it with like other people, because it will be a blessing, like to have you and like-minded people like that in one room together, having conversations like this. Like it will be truly a blessing, honestly. So we'll definitely make that happen at some point. But yeah, we have another one that we have lined up, but we'll make time for that one at some point. For sure. We will. But man, this was great.
Same here.
Yeah, this was great.
Thank you
Yeah.
for having me
Thanks
here.
for thanks for making the time. I appreciate so much. And I guess it's